Did you ever redesign the Snafu shirts to put "I hope you like the music" on the back yet?
No, I haven't.
As soon as you do, I'm buying like 2 more.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Need them before Adepticon.
Yeah, please.
Shit, when is that? Like middle of March?
About a month.
End of March.
End of March.
About a month.
Okay.
We'll cover it in the hobby updates once we get started.
Right. All right. Should we start this thing?
Yeah, why not?
Anything else in the agenda that we have to talk about beforehand? No. Are we going to do hobby at all? Hobby updates, of course. Okay. I just saw the one line. Yeah. All right. Let's start this episode.
We are a little consistent.
Snafu. Situation normal. All fouled up. This is Snafu.
All right. Welcome to Snafu. I'm your host, Rick. With me tonight are the regular guys. It's been a little while, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Everybody say hi. Say hi, Dale.
We forgot how this goes already. Hi, Dale.
I really
Everyone
do
say
forget how
hi
this
to
goes.
me.
Everyone say hi to Dale.
Hi, Dale.
Everyone say hi to Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi, me.
Hi, Jeff. And then say hi to Pat.
Hey, Pat.
Hey, Pat.
Hey,
Hi,
Pat.
Pat. And then everyone say hi to me.
Sup?
Hi to me.
How you doing, Rick?
Hi, me.
Hey, Rick.
That's
Hi,
someone.
me.
That's someone else. Yeah. All right. Welcome to
It's Saturday night. We're living.
Yeah. Nobody's been drinking. What's that about Jaime?
That's the Spanish pronunciation.
Jaime
of
is a-
Jamie.
Jaime.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the Spanish Jamie.
That's right.
All right, let's start
Spanish.
insulting languages right away. Let's just get that
Hey,
going. in the
Sue.
first
I think
minute.
I think
This
that's
might
right.
actually be correct.
I think that might be how you actually say that name, but we'll be corrected if we're wrong. All
Wait,
right.
So Jamie is the American pronunciation of Jaime. There we go.
That's probably
Wait.
more accurate. Yes, that's probably a better way of describing that.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, we seem to like take over other people's stuff and then make it American,
Make it better.
It is the English way.
something like that. All right, welcome to episode 31. 31, fellas.
Congratulations.
I know, right?
Welcome to 29. Oh, wait, no. I didn't
That's a
even say that.
milestone. 31.
Shit.
29
I-
with 2 episodes of experience.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
good way to put it.
sure. All right, so let's start with the thing we always start with, which is hobby updates. I know 2 of you guys have some probably fairly significant hobby updates. I am painting all sorts of weird models and stuff. I'm not really
Well,
focusing
then let's
on
start with
anything.
yours.
Wow, you're actually painting.
yeah.
That's good.
I actually am painting
Painting,
models. Well, okay, so I bought an out of print board game of what is it called? Mars Attacks. And it had the reason I bought them is that the little Martians actually have like little glass helmets they can put on their heads.
Yeah.
This is the nerdiest shit in the world, by the way.
I could see how that's cool. I mean,
It-
everybody
like-
likes gluing the little
Right.
windshields into the trucks and
sounds fun to
planes and
me.
stuff.
I mean, and they actually look good. They're decent enough quality. I won't say they're the best thing I've ever bought before, but you get like 20 Martians and like 10 militia guys, and you get some regular fellas in there. Someone did point out I don't get a person with a little Chihuahua head.
Oh,
I know it's a little disappointing now that I think about it, but I'm having fun with them, painting them. So that's my current work. Test of Honors. I got a bunch of Test of Honor stuff in front of me too, but it's kind of slowed down. Not gonna lie, but yeah, that's what
No,
I'm
once
working
you get some train, that might pick back up again.
on. Right, you're working on that, aren't you? Or Jeff is working on it for you,
Heavily.
something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Jeff
It's a
is
collaboration.
Fair. So that's all I got. How about you, Pat? What are you working on?
I am painting up my DAC army for Adepticon.
DAC or deck?
DAK. The
DAK,
Duchess
okay.
Africa Corps. Or Duchess or whatever the pronunciation. The German word is like
Deutsch.
douchey.
Deutsch,
No.
yeah.
Deutsch. I like that
Deutsch.
better.
Deutsch.
Deutsch.
Jesus.
Speaking of insulting people,
I might have done that
okay.
intentionally.
yeah, fair.
But, yeah, so I've got 30-some infantry guys and a tank, and I'm not sure if we want to spill the whole list at this stage or not, because,
Is this
we have to
for
play against
teams?
some people who are listening. This is for teams.
Okay.
I am playing my British for Combat Patrol, which is the Thursday before. Thursday it starts at, 6 and goes to, midnight or something ridiculous like that.
Stupid
Oh,
like that, yeah.
did you guys both sign up for that one?
Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
silly.
Oh.
Hey, you might as well. You're in when in Rome, so to speak.
Right.
Or near Chicago.
There's
So that's
a Rome,
been-
Illinois somewhere, I'm sure.
I'm sure there is. So that's I've been hitting that pretty heavy. I'll probably be done with those in about obviously before the end of March, but I think by the end of next week I should be pretty close on those guys. And then I'm
that's
starting
awesome.
to look at what in
The
the
prototypes look good.
Thank you. Now I'm going to start worrying about what in the hell I'm going to put together for Bug Eater, because that's going to be a little bit larger list and probably a little more involved. So I'm just kicking around ideas for that one right now.
Yeah.
No triple core? No, you're not going to defend with what you had?
Well, I briefly entertained bringing the exact same list, but I didn't think that would be a whole lot of fun for me, because I would like to paint something for the tournament. So
Right.
Fair. Well, and you've shifted the meta, so now you got to bring whatever will counter that meta.
Well, yeah, I just need to find a way to push the meta back around again.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
maybe
with
talk
you.
about some of those other things later on too. But yeah, I know Bug Eaters, in the back of my mind, Adepticon, and get that done first, and then we'll be pretty much good. I just got one unit to paint for the Combat Patrol for British, actually a vehicle, and that pretty much covers. I've been pounding away, so there you
Great.
go.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Sweet.
fun stuff.
Dale, how about you? We'll smash in here.
Yeah, it's pretty short. It's all kinds of enthusiasm and motivation and momentum coming out of the last episode. And then I cracked open a blister of metal miniatures, and it just killed my hobby.
Oh my god!
You hate him so much.
I do, but
can't
I've
blame
gone
you.
over that. But I did complete those 7 guys, and I've got the next 7 guys that, and by complete I mean I glued them together on alternate bases because I've painted up all the bases. So I'm looking at them right now. I gotta find a way to get those done.
Motivated.
Yeah.
So by complete, you mean they are just glued to bases?
No, they're glued together. They're actually sticky tacked to bases.
Oh, okay.
So
They're multi-piece metals?
yeah, they're
Okay.
they're the Soviet Scouts.
Got it. Okay.
So
Just-
one more
just
package
power
of those.
through.
and- yeah, I'm probably I'll try to get them. I don't know.
Your bases look really good. And you got a lot of
Thanks.
compliments on the bases.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You better finish the damn project because those bases look good.
It was more of a test to see what I could do with an actual board, but I'm happy with how they came out. I'm not done painting them yet because you can't be done until you got the miniatures on them, so you get the full composition.
Fair.
But it's
Yep.
it's a
Good
good
start.
baseline. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good baseline. So, but yeah, I appreciate that. Those were fun. I cracked those out in just a couple of days. It's pretty straightforward. So, hopefully the next time we record, I'll have these scouts completed and I can do the other stuff I enjoy, which is plastic. Because
And
the
what is it
metal
that
miniatures
just-
are terrible.
What is it that there's not enough detail in the sculpt to them, or the weight, or what is it that just really grinds your gears on that?
You know what? I think my two biggest complaints are that it takes me much longer to build them, and it's really I have a hard time seeing the detail on the miniatures themselves. Not that it's there, but it's just it's really tough for me to see them until I get them primed and a couple of coats of paint. That color break, I can't see as well as I used to once upon a time, and so I
I get that.
It's one string of excitement and momentum because you can see and you envision it and you think about how you're going to use it and how it's coming together, and because I have a difficult time visualizing it because they're metal, you know, and they seem to be a little different scaled because they're older. I just don't like them. I don't know why. Maybe it's irrational. So
Well,
I do find
I saw
it-
Terminator 2, and that
Yeah.
guy.
The metal
was
ones
all,
do
you
come
know,
alive at night while you're not paying attention, so I could see that.
Yeah,
What?
I just don't like putting them together at all. Yeah,
Well, everyone knows that.
Down. I'm just like
You've seen Toy Story. They jump around and do stuff, but the metal ones actually do come alive. The plastics don't. So you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
it's new to me too, but
Fair. All right, but yeah, I'm kind of with you, Dale. Like they don't paint as well either, in my opinion. Like they chip faster. Like you have other concerns that are, plastics are a little more forgiving in the whole in like the grand scheme of things. But
yeah, it's an interesting point too, because I don't know my best painting on miniatures. They've always been plastic, so but that could be for a lot of reasons.
because you only paint plastics, that would be a good reason.
Well, no, a lot of that first Skaven army was a ton of metal.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Actually,
so, it's just...
Well, that could do it right there.
And some of my Japanese, were metal guys, and I just don't enjoy them as much as the others, which is unfortunate, but, I need to get these scouts done, and this is a bug eater list, so, it's easy to paint stuff when you're excited, and it looks great. It's a lot harder to make something look great where you're like, this is poopy.
I want to be painting anything else right now.
okay. Well, keep working on it. Otherwise, sell those bases. Jeff, well, I know you're working on stuff because I've seen pictures of stuff. What are you working on?
holy Christ, what aren't I working on?
Fair.
So I can't remember if before we recorded my part of that last episode if I had my latest toy or not.
No,
So-
no. In fact, you
did not.
You like, I'm shopping for one, and then like the next day you posted a picture. Hey, look at what I got, and it's like all assembled and shit. And I'm like, you were talking about buying one yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
You were being sneaky and had already purchased it. Apparently,
I am also always sneaky and have purchased things.
Ironically enough, in the episode where we had somebody talking about 3D printing.
right?
Yeah.
And he wasn't a part of the episode.
Well, that way I didn't screw anything up. I could just listen to good information.
Something like that. All right.
So anyway, I did procure myself a 3D printer. I got a Prusa Mark III 3D printer, and I've been having a blast with it for the last month. I'm going to sheepishly admit I actually haven't listened to all of our last episode in the interview part, but I can tell you that this 3D printer is almost idiot-proof, and I love it.
Sweet.
Almost. I got the kit, so I assembled it from all of its pieces, which is a pain in the ass if you're not used to doing that or you don't have a really good Allen wrench set. I mean, it comes with one, but you can only tighten so many screws before your fingers are like numb.
And it's quite a few of them, isn't it?
It's a shitload.
Okay.
It's a
Took you
shitload.
how long? 2 days to assemble?
About 16 hours over 3 days.
Jeez. Okay.
But, I mean, part of that is I would work for 6 hours or so, and then my hands were killing me, so I'd stop and go do something else, or go to bed.
Fair.
But,
Yeah.
no, it's great. I know where all the parts are, so I feel reasonably competent if I were to ever need to replace a part, how to get to it. So that made me happy.
Totally cool.
But right off the thing, I mean, it's got the settings. It comes with software. They send you a whole spool of filament, so I could basically print from the get-go following really detailed instructions how to get it dialed in pretty good. So, yeah, I've only had a couple real cluster flops yet, and they're always my fault, so that's good.
Awesome. So you're
So,
printing
yeah, I've been-
all sorts of stuff.
Oh, Jesus, I've been printing so much stuff. I've printed, I don't know, probably I'd guess around 18 different vehicles at this point.
Yeah, I could see you just nerding out on that nonstop.
Yeah, oh God, yeah, as fast as I can get filament through it. Yeah.
What was your longest print?
Longest print was, I did one, 18-hour print?
Jeez, already. Okay.
Well, it was, that one was actually a building I was testing out how an 18-hour print would go. And that was for Star Wars Legion. I was printing, and it's only half the building.
Oh, okay.
And I had a little bit of warping in one corner, so I didn't do another 18-hour print until I sort that issue.
Is that like just need a cooling fan type thing, or?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It might just be because the weather's been so shit and it's in a drafty room.
Is it in your brewery room?
No, it's in the open main living room in my basement.
Oh, okay.
Because we're having a because I haven't made a home for it yet. I wanted to get a nice workbench to mount it on that's stable, and I've been looking at building an enclosure over it, following their instructions. So it's on the list.
They encourage that.
Yes, they do. Yeah, and it would be very nice to do that. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. But
cool.
I've done a number of 14-hour prints though, so that's pretty standard for the couple of the bigger vehicles for bolt action I printed.
Wow.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy, but and then I did some prints today. Like I did a couple. Yeah, I did a couple Kettenkrads tonight, and they're like a 2 hour print. And
are you going to have dudes to put on those, or
no?
Okay.
No.
Yeah, not a lot of people put out STL files of dudes.
Right, and the ones that almost all the STL files of dudes are not super detailed.
Right. Even something's better than nothing, but yeah.
I mean, I could kit patch a dude onto one of these. I just don't know that I'm going to.
It's like how much effort do you want to put in for something that, I mean,
that's literally a transport vehicle.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see. I might. We'll see. I'm sitting here like filing off the excess crap right now as we're talking. So
sweet.
But yeah, so I've been doing that, tons of that, and then I'm also getting my Adepticon list put together.
Okay.
I'm printing substantial chunks of it actually, which is kind of fun.
Wonder if there's a hint in there.
Yeah, and I don't have a. If I go with the list I'm thinking of right now, which yes, I know the list's due in like 18 days. I won't have a ton of dudes to paint.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Could be an advantage to that.
Well, as I was actually asking my wife about this one, if I should bring something I thought was slightly more competitive or something that was going to be fun and visually impressive. And she's all about the fun and visually impressive, and I can't disagree with that. Plus, if I'm playing with Pat, I mean, Christ, he'll smash everybody for me. Chill out and watch him wreck the place.
Says the guy that brings an inexperienced truck.
It could be a good cop, bad cop kind of thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, there
I'll
you
make
go.
Pat look even better because they'll fucking hate me.
Because you're being very competitive or anti-competitive.
I don't consider.
Weren't
what
you
I'm
doing that
thinking
armor
about
platoon with the Nebel Warfers or the
the
Panzer
5 Nebel
Warfer,
Warfers?
the guys?
Yeah. It's a six Panzer Warfer list. Yeah.
All right.
I think they might kick me out if I actually brought that.
Well,
Although I guess I could bring it to Bug Eater. I mean, I set the precedent with 4. They can't really bitch about 5.
No.
I mean,
you got to turn it up. They bitched about 4, so.
Well, yeah, but now I could be 5 and they're all mobile. But hey, they won't be inexperienced.
Well, the funny thing is that next year's Bug Eater, the rule will be no Nebel Warfers. It won't be anything about
no Nebel Warfers, no
It'll be
Panzer
nothing
Warfers.
to do with flame tanks or anything. It'll just be like no Nebel
Flame
Warfers.
tanks allowed, no Nebel Warfers. In which case, I'll bring 5 Flam Hetzers and we'll get those banned the next year. So
pretty soon they're just going to ask us not to come back.
it's just going to be like, yeah, everyone can
I don't
bring
think
whatever you want
Josh should
except
do
you,
that.
Jeff. You're not invited. And I'm like,
Oh.
So
Yeah,
I've
keep
been having
ruining the
tons of
tournament.
stuff. Pretty much,
Okay.
yeah. It's not intentional. I mean, they say bring stuff that's fun. I like to bring stuff that's fun.
I don't think, and you know what, the individuals that are salty about it are going to be salty about it regardless of what happened.
Right.
Right? Like, you could have brought anything and they may have still been salty. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
You gave them a reason or excuse to be upset about something.
Well, I did. And
whether
honestly,
or not it was rational.
Honestly, that list could be a hell of a lot harder than it was.
Right.
Salty people always find something to be salty about. There's this.
Right. Exactly.
Well, and there's amazing diminishing returns on after the second one. Anyway,
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, the first one's super powerful. The second one's still pretty powerful. After that, it's kind of like, you've done your damage.
Yeah.
But
It's more about redundancy at that point if your first two decide to not hit.
well, right, yeah, but I mean, just being able to get them all shots, even that is pretty friggin' hard.
Fair.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you either cluster them, in which case the guy just wipes them, or you spread them out and they don't have the lines of sight. So,
Right.
but anyway, we'll see what I do for Bug Eater. I actually have to email the chief guy there. I got a question for him. I might bring something really fun to that, and if it's going to be too wonky for him, I'll bring something a little more standard and warfery. But we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what goes.
I think it's 1,000
Warfing.
points this time around. So
Yeah, I mean,
Bug Eater's still 1,000, but it's whatever the heck you want to bring. Armor platoon,
Pretty much, yeah.
theater list, whatever.
Yeah. It's fun.
That was a great tournament. I mean,
Yeah.
I really liked that one. So
I'm definitely sad or envious that I will not be able to go this year, probably, or for the foreseeable future, for that matter. We'll see when I'll be allowed to leave the house again.
yeah,
But it is what it is. I'm still enjoying it. I'm living vicariously through all your guys' tournament play. So
don't worry, we'll send lots of pictures.
yeah. I'll be excited to see it. So
If I see that candy table again, I'll try to like box up the smell in a jar or something.
oh
for you.
please, can you like buy it off of them?
Just waft it.
Just please. Yes, I would really love that again.
I
I'll
love
be sure
that
to get really drunk first, and then
Yeah, I'll get you the next morning that sickeningly sweet vanilla there
God,
when you're
that
hungover
that
as
was
shit.
the worst feeling in the world. All right, so this is kind of like this episode is like the grab bag of shit that people have asked us to talk about over the last while, plus a couple topics that we wanted to talk about. So, I mean, we always do this every once in a while, and I feel like we haven't done it for a little while, right? I don't feel like we've had.
Well, yeah, we actually had
episode. For
had someone send me a message like, "Do you guys stop doing that?" No.
There's people
No,
that are
just-
people that are like, I think they stopped recording, like have to go on the record. And by the way, thanks, John Stentz. I'm going to call your name out fully because of the bolt action shout out that he didn't give us.
Yeah.
If you followed it, it was great. Someone called us. Someone said, "Hey, Snafu is a great podcast," and then. What did John say?
on
John
Facebook?
says no. This is on Facebook. John was like, no, he was asking for good podcasts.
He was asking for a good one. Yeah.
Thanks, Smarty Pants.
And that's why I make you play it all 6 rounds at the tournament, John.
Right.
Even when you're kicking my ass.
Right. Okay, so we've been getting lots of questions on Facebook about rules, and someone has mentioned that we used to do rules segments frequently. I don't know, frequently. We don't even record frequently, so. So we're going to go through some of the more common ones, I think, right, Pat? That's what you put together here is kind of some of the ones that you saw that are kind of misread or, not as normal.
But not as
Kinda
normal.
seems like that.
These are ones
Different
that
stuff.
I end up looking up periodically during the course of a game. Like, that doesn't come up every game. What exactly does it mean? Well, the first one I cover is, so I think I'd mentioned one of the previous podcast, and this is where the question came from, that I was talking to John from Warlord about this dense terrain and how he's heard it interpreted different ways. And I said, well, okay, he said something, and whatever it was, I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that totally makes sense. But then I was reading it like a week later, and I'm like, I can only interpret this one way. How are other people even doing this? So the whole thing, all right, we know dense terrain, and the bottom line is you can't see through it. You can see into it, you can see out of it. If you're shooting out of it, you have to have 50% of your unit, meaning if you have a 6-man unit, you need to have 3 guys on the edge of the terrain. Otherwise, the whole unit suffers a penalty. Now, apparently, some people are playing it that if the unit isn't on the edge, whoever is further back in the terrain is just not shooting, like if they were out of range or something. So,
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I remember us having this conversation about like how people don't necessarily measure those other guys. You just get those front guys out there, and that's like enough. I can see this being an issue for some people, though.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
This is one where a couple good diagrams would significantly help the situation.
Yes,
Right.
it would have definitely been easy enough to have a couple just little side boxes that talk about it, examples that they've used for other things.
Do we
and
think
showing the
this is a good
difference.
rule?
It's a fine rule. I don't know how it's led to misinterpretation if you actually read it verbatim. Models count as being at the edge of dense terrain when they are within 1 inch, when they are at the edge of the terrain and their shots pass less than 1 inch to the terrain. And 50%.
Right. It's straightforward. It's easy to understand, but it's easy to forget the nuances of the rule itself sometimes. And I guess because I'm getting older and I don't play nearly as often as I'd like, I'm finding it harder to remember like the particulars. maybe I just need a really more simplified, straightforward kind of, rule. So to keep me from screwing it up as much as I do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I said, a couple good diagrams. Like even if they released a FAQ, right, or whatever you would call it, a rules clarification, and put 2 diagrams in it, right? They wouldn't have to be huge. Just explaining this is what we intended the rule to be played as. This is how you should play it.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Well, and the one thing I guess I see differently is people misinterpret that where it says that the model has to be at the edge of the whatever we call the difficult terrain
dense
terrain, and people are playing it that they have to be within an inch of the dense terrain, but that just means if you're at the edge and you're possibly shooting not directly at your front because there's no front arc or anything for a unit, that your shot isn't passing through an inch of the terrain, whether it's to the side of you or different other than right in front of you. You still have to be at the edge of the terrain.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really missed a lot.
I've missed that, I know.
I'm a firm believer in the if you can see me, I can see you. If I can shoot you, you can shoot me type thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm not like, I feel like that's the only circumstance I've ever been like, I've never been like, it's, I don't know. It seems like a non-issue other than that. Like, just everyone should go follow up and read the terrain rule, because I think if you read it, you'll understand it a little bit better.
Well, here on page 57. Models count as being at the edge of dense terrain when they are positioned within the dense terrain and touching its boundary. Okay. There you go. Same thing as if you're manning a wall.
So could they be in the outside touching it, and they're still in it?
So again, it's the majority of the units. You have to have 50% or more.
So you could be on the outside of.
So
yes, and as long as your shot isn't going more than an inch through the terrain.
Yeah. So like you put all your guys with their back edge touching it, but the 3/4 of their base is outside the terrain. They still count.
And by that rule, yes.
I'm not really sure what that gets you, except maybe you need that extra half.
Positioned within the dense terrain and touching its boundary.
Yeah.
So they're inside
and touching it.
Inside touching it. Well, that's a different podcast.
Right. I was going for that. Thank you.
Yes, they are positioned within the dense terrain and touching its boundary.
All right. Well, let's move.
And their shots cross less than 1 inch of the dense terrain they are occupying. So that's just, they're basically saying that they're, if it's a woods, they're up against the edge of the woods and they're leaning over tree trunks or whatever, and they have that as cover, and they're not impeding their shot the same as if they were manning a wall.
All right. I feel like we covered enough of the dense terrain stuff. Let's talk about this next one, Pat. The heavy weapons versus armored targets. It seems.
This one actually,
I don't know what that means.
Well, this one came up at Snafu a couple different times, and for some reason I had it in my head that it didn't apply to an HMG, which it actually does. It doesn't apply to HE, so anytime you're firing more than over half the weapon's range, you have a -1 to the penetration value. And this is only heavy weapons firing at armored targets. Nothing to do with heavy weapons firing at soft-skinned vehicles, or small arms firing at armored targets, or small arms firing at soft-skinned vehicles. It's only heavy weapons at armored targets.
So wait, so that does apply to HMGs?
Yeah, because they have a pen value.
Because they have a pen value, so they're technically... Okay.
They are heavy weapons, so if they're outside of their... I think they're 36, so if they're outside of 18, they effectively don't get a pen value, but they're still a heavy weapon, so they...
Still could put pins.
They could put a pin on it.
Can they still penetrate?
No.
Right. If they don't have a +1, they can't do it. No matter what they do.
You roll a 6. The 6 isn't going to make a 7.
Unless you're hitting it from the side or the rear.
That's a good point.
Which modifies your pen value back. So.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So
that only
you touched on that pins thing. That reminded me that there's that whole. The reason why it's important for whether the vehicle is inexperienced, regular, or veteran. Mm-hmm. Really has to do, well, obviously the order check makes a difference, but it doesn't make them tougher to kill because you're killing the vehicle, not the guys. But it's the reflected taking pins. So an inexperienced guy will always take pins regardless of if the weapon could actually do damage to the vehicle or not. Veterans never will because they just know that weapon isn't strong enough to get through their armor, and regulars are, quite honestly, 50-50 because you have to roll a dice, and a 4+ they ignore the pin.
Yeah.
So
you can shoot. She can. So you can shoot pistols at like an inexperienced tank, and it'll take pins.
No,
No.
I think you still have to have.
No, it
has
still
to
has
be
to
a
have
heavy
a pen
weapon.
value. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Still has to have pens. All right.
Yep, still has to be a heavy weapon.
But you can
Okay.
shoot that HMG at a 10+ inexperienced tank, and put
You're not
pins
going
on
to
it.
do anything other than pin it. Yeah,
Right.
but that's still
But if they're-
that is enough.
If they're regulars on a 4+, they'll ignore the pins, and the veterans will ignore it all day long.
Right.
Right.
So moral of
Unless
the
you
story
have the
is
capability
don't.
of doing it.
Moral of the story is don't
Oh.
bring an inexperienced tank.
I don't know if that's necessarily the moral of the story.
I think, I like that.
that's
moral
that's
story
what I
is
got
that-
out of it.
Don't
You
bring
got
a
a chance
veteran
of pinning
tank.
something. How many veteran
They're
tanks
too
have you seen on the
expensive.
table?
They're too expensive.
Yeah, they're too
A
expensive.
couple American ones, but that's about it.
Yeah, and that's mostly
John
for
Russell
flavor.
put one on the table once, and that was just when I was playing him, and that's because he didn't want to take out too many models.
Yeah, he's bringing a he's transporting a tiny army, so he doesn't have to like pack that into the car too.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Good topic again. HQ units, so headquarters. Like, I don't see this getting played wrong, but I maybe I'm missing something here.
So, interestingly enough, this last weekend there was a convention here locally, and
Wait, there was?
Josh, who Con of the North,
Oh,
Josh, who runs Bug Eater, was running a small event where people could come up and play. He had 6 players in both of his sessions, and
Nice.
this came up: how HQ units are used, what the morale bonus is, what the length, or how far that morale bonus impacts, whether an HQ unit in a truck, where his morale bonus could be used, those kinds of things. So this is going to be good.
And this may come up again a little bit, actually, as a conversation later. So, okay. Yeah.
So the first thing is they clearly define it as a morale bonus. It's not only specifically to making order checks. You also do it when you are making your morale check to see if you die or your vehicle that you're putting out on fire or whatever. So if you have an officer within his command range, 6 inches, obviously first and second, and more than that for the other officers that no one takes. Excuse me. So say, and this kind of came up, actually Dave and I were playing a game, and he had put one of my vehicles on fire. Thanks, Dave. And
very nice
I was
of him.
actually close enough, and I just figured, no, that was to order test, so we didn't do anything about it. And I actually jokingly, Dale was standing next to me, I said, but if that's not the case, you know it's going to be on a podcast soon.
Thanks,
So
Dave.
here it is. Thanks, Dave. So yes, in fact, that morale bonus would have made a difference to putting that that vehicle is on fire from the damage chart. It's a morale test, so anytime you test a morale, that's when you put it there. And there's always a min-max. The absolute lowest your morale can never be is 2, and it can never be above 10, regardless of what other bonuses you have going on.
Unless you're
So you
Finland.
can.
What about that Finnish
Yeah.
craziness?
So Finns,
No, there's always something that breaks the rule, isn't there?
Yeah,
of course.
I think
But
so.
anyway,
That's
the
the only one I
normal
know.
the normal rule is 10.
The normal is
right?
210. Yep.
Yeah.
So even if you're like, you have you're a veteran unit with 1 pin next to a first lieutenant. That doesn't, you go down to 9, back up to 10. You don't get to go to 11 to make your test because your first lieutenant's there. You stop back at 10 again. In normal everyday cases that aren't Finland.
Right. Not everyone can be Spinal Tap.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I guess I never. Okay, now I know where I've done this wrong. You're right. I've never considered it on any test, and I've only ever thought it was on order tests.
Yeah, and that's what most people do, but in the verbiage, they never say during an order test. In fact, they actually refer to an order test as testing on the unit's morale.
Right.
So everything that's going to affect that morale is what's going to affect everything else.
Huh.
So when
Yeah,
you've got your
no, that makes
paratroopers, you have a unit that's got 4 pins on them and they're taking 50% casualties, and your officer's nearby. Hey, you guys are fine. I'm right here with you. So
yeah, the little pip right there.
yeah,
Okay.
rah rah and all that stuff.
The next one I do know, I've seen, and it's always a question, is having HQ on. I'm guessing that's what you mean by this, is having HQ on a transport with other units, or just whether or not.
Either or.
Either or.
Both.
Like I know when you have an HQ inside a truck, you can't use his morale bonus outside the truck. But can you use it inside the truck? And now I know.
So,
That's crazy
page
talk.
116, officers and other HQ units can potentially ride in vehicles. As a general rule, their special abilities do not work as long as they're in the transport. The one exception, the officer's morale bonus, which does apply to the officer unit itself, any other units carried in the same vehicle, and the vehicle itself, including when coming in from reserve.
Oh,
Okay.
That's nice.
including when coming in from reserve. I don't think I ever remembered that.
That's
that's a
huge,
big one.
Jeff. Should have put your damn HQ inside your inexperienced truck.
Probably friggin' should have. Don't know if it would have helped, though. I think I rolled 11 and every friggin' check.
I don't think it would have mattered what type of truck it was. You're right. But
That's the exact thing I thought when I read that too. I'm like, oh my god, then inexperienced transport is nearly viable if you're looking to shave points. Now, granted, a transport where you're shaving points going from inexperienced to regular isn't a huge
like 10
chunk,
points. Yeah.
right? But hey, that's a spotter.
It's a min-max thing, so.
But it also doesn't mean that your lieutenant's stuck in a truck. Like you're not going to have any flexibility there. But that is an interesting play.
Well, also do remember that whether a vehicle that has weapons is inexperienced or the unit on board is inexperienced, you take the worst of the two when trying to fire that weapon.
That's true. They're always going to be firing it inexperienced if they have weapons on
They're going to
board.
be firing at the worst case.
Although if you put a like howitzer that's always just hitting on sixes,
Shooting indirectly.
or
sure.
multi launcher, like a Kyusha, but you can't transport with that anyway, so it doesn't matter. So never mind. Okay, interesting. That is actually I did not know that. That's kind of cool.
Well, and that's why I try and find these things out. See, just sometimes for fun, I just sit down and read these books and find other things. This one I got up my highlighter for, so...
Which one? The FUBAR?
No, the
Or no, the
116,
transport?
the
Okay.
transport thing. That one was worthy of highlighting.
Well, because I think a lot of people don't know that or understand that or play that.
I played it
you've-
wrong when I was starting out, so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. And then we stopped playing the way that you would ever try and use it. So,
Right.
like, you found other tactics. But okay,
And here's one other one I ran across since we're talking about vehicles. Reverse move. Unless it's a recce, it can only move straight backwards up to half its advanced. There's no turning.
Right. There's no
There's no
turns,
turning.
Ooh,
and there's
somebody
no-
has text.
There's no going backwards and then going forwards again in the same move.
Right,
That one
seems
had come
silly.
up, yeah.
That seems silly.
So
Why would
you're
that
either
happen?
performing a reverse move or you're doing the advance or run. Those are your three options.
Well-
I had a game at Bug Eater where I was questioning how the guy was moving his tank, and that would have confirmed the fact that he backed up, turned through a alleyway, and then drove forward. Yeah, I was like, that seems wrong, but you're smoking me anyway. I don't really care, but it is
It
what
can
it is.
depending on the vehicle, it can seem like they're doing both, but keep in mind, depending on the type of vehicle, if you get up to two 90-degree turns, or you can have up to 280-degree turns on some of these?
Wheeled
Is it wheeled?
vehicles can make 290s.
290s. So, I
Yep.
mean, if you go forward,
This is
turn, kind of like you're going backwards, I mean...
This is a
But
this
you're
is
right.
a Stoog. Like this was a Stoog. Like
Right.
literally
Yep.
backed up, took a hard left, and then came out between two other buildings. I'm like, that seems sketch as shit. But all right, whatever, man. Like,
That's the Hollywood effect.
it was very.
Well, and part of the
Goofy,
problem is that you would think it could do that, but the vehicle rules are an abstraction for game purposes, which
Right.
means
You can't be like super maneuverable. Like I
Right.
get that. Like the tanks are still kind of cumbersome, and like they do
With
take
one
some
90-degree turn.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like, have you ever seen them? They're just like big lumbering pieces of metal. Like they aren't exactly like that. Very few of them are very like agile and mobile. You can't really like do
Yeah,
crazy
they
shit.
weren't
with them.
armored cars. I
Yeah.
mean, they were tanks, so...
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. All right.
That's why they whole classification.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I thought that'd be a fun one for you.
That is fun. I like it. I enjoyed that one. All right. This
Well,
one.
this
This
next
one.
one-
Nobody likes. Nobody likes this one. Go for it, Pat.
Fouled up beyond recognition. The
Good
FUBAR
enough.
result.
FUBAR. So double 12,
FUBAR?
double sixes. Double sixes.
This is the big box cars in the order test. So, and the reason why I bring this up is the point number one is when you have the result of 1 or 2, People miss this little part where it's friendly fire, and your opponent now gets to pick a target. But what they seem to forget a lot is that target has to be within 12 inches of an enemy unit, or it has no effect.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you have to pick a target. That's it gets confusing too, because it's actually...
Is it within 12 inches of the enemy unit, or within 12 inches of A? Okay.
And you can pick any friendly unit within 12 inches of another enemy unit.
Yeah.
Right. The wording is a little wonky, in my opinion. It doesn't.
Just think of it this way: there has to be an enemy unit close enough to that friendly unit that they get confused by, and they actually say that in there. Mm-hmm. Because that's the proximity to the enemy is what causes their panic and their confusion.
Right, and they think they're shooting at the enemy, and it's really they're shooting at their friends right next to them. It makes sense. It's just the way they worded it. Like, if you don't read it carefully, you might misinterpret it.
Right. If you don't read the whole thing, you know, it's like, oh my God, you have to shoot one of your units.
Yeah, you get all excited because you're like, hey, you get to pick something.
You get really excited when those things happen to your opponents, you know? I do. That's fun to watch them blow up their own shit.
Yeah.
So, and then, of course, the other one...
How do you like your flamethrower now, you jackass?
Yeah, exactly.
How about that, Nebelwerfer? All right.
So, and then the other part of that is the panic on the 3, 4, 5, or 6. The unit executes a run order as fast as possible away from the closest visible. If there isn't one, they go down instead. So, I bring this up twofold, because we were just talking about officers on board a transport. Because... Again, the game I had with Dave, he foobarred twice in a row with his officer who was on board the transport because he was trying to make a rally or something like that because he had a couple pins.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, okay, they're not technically on the table, but so now if you go to the units on transports on 115, there's only a few orders that you can be given that they can be given. A down order, which has no effect, a rally order, which works normally, advance or a run to dismount. Okay. So, ambush and fire orders can never be given. So, if there's an officer who's foobarred, or a unit that's foobarred on a vehicle, and they're on board a transport, and a result of 1 or 2, well, they can't be issued a fire order, so they could only go down in that case. On 3, 4, 5, or 6, they can be executed a run order, so you know what? They're disembarking away from the closest visible unit.
They're just bailing out. Interesting.
Yep.
That makes sense. Seems reasonable to me.
Yeah. So
do they clearly spell that out, or you're extrapolating from all the rules that are there that is the result that they have to have because there's no other way to do it?
So there's very specific, only a set number of orders that can be given to a unit that's on board a transport.
Right. And
he's extrapolating it.
Yeah, you extrapolate.
I think he's right. Yeah. I agree with him.
I agree with it because you're right. You can't be issued a fire order, and FUBAR requires you issue your unit a fire order, and it just so happens to be shooting at your friends instead of your enemy. Right. So,
and they say in the FUBAR,
yeah,
if they say if you can't shoot it, there isn't one, then they go down instead. And the panic unit, it says they get a run order. Again, if the unit on board the transport doesn't have a visible enemy, they would go down instead, which has no additional effect. But if they had a visible enemy and they were foobarred, I would think that their run order would be to disembark as far away from the visible unit as possible.
Totally. Makes perfect sense to me. Okay. I like FUBAR. I like it when people FUBAR.
I like it when other people foobar. I'm not a huge fan of foobaring. Foobering?
No.
Fubbering.
I'm not either, really. But I don't like foobaring either. I don't like it when other people foobar because it doesn't make them happier. Typically, it doesn't make them happier.
I find it really funny when I call it out and they do it, but I've only done that twice. I don't think I can do it again.
I don't know that I like it when people call out when I'm going to do something stupid or like your shit's not going to work.
Well, go ahead and order check. Just get a FUBAR and we'll be set. Oh, hey, look at that. You got a FUBAR. That's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Yay. All right, do we want to cover this next topic before break or after break?
Let's push on.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
And then we'll talk about we'll do tournament stuff in the second half.
Oh, that sounds like a good idea.
That sounds wonderful. All right. So we alluded to this a minute ago. This is another Facebook topic that somebody asked us about is tactics with your like just bolt action tactics. And I think this is an interesting one. I'm not sure why we started with this one, but it's an interesting one nonetheless.
Because we talked a lot about HQ units and the above rule stuff, so I just figured it makes sense.
Reasonable. That seems reasonable. I mean, some of this we covered, but now we'll go in more into detail, I think, as to what it actually means. So we're going to talk some tactics around headquarter units.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, let's start at the basics. Like, that's usually your lieutenant, right? Your first or your second lieutenant.
Yep, captain or major.
Right, captain or major.
Gotta have
but
one.
I mean, everybody's got to have one. You're right.
Don't forget about your medics.
Yeah, but but they don't do the same shit. Like, we're not gonna. I mean,
You don't have to have a medic.
you don't have to. Have
Right,
you have to have a
don't have
first or
to.
second Louis. Okay, so let me ask a question at the beginning of this, since this isn't in your agenda, Pat. But I'm going to ask this question: when you guys you have to bring your lieutenant. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer a first or a second lieutenant? Notwithstanding Germany, I feel like they changed things a little bit. But Pat, when you're playing Brits, what do you normally bring?
It's about 50-50 between a first or a second.
Okay.
It really depends. It depends on where the points are squeaking and what I think that the role of that lieutenant's going to be. 'Cause different lists have a different need. If I'm running mostly vets, I'm not too worried about needing to have a first lieutenant.
Okay.
If my infantry troops are there.
You're bringing just a little pip instead. Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
But if I'm bringing a majority of regulars, I will usually do a first lieutenant, or I'll do a first lieutenant if I'm thinking I can get like an artillery pit somewhere, to have a light howitzer and a medium mortar in the same area, that if I can get that first dice in the second round after I've started ranging in, I can snap those two to action right away before their targets have a chance to move.
Get an early big jump on them. That seems reasonable too.
So it really depends on what the list needs.
Okay. Dale, with your Japanese, what were you typically bringing? I'm guessing you're probably bringing his bare minimum.
Yes, bare minimum.
Because, bless you.
Thank you.
And then Jeff, when you were playing your French, you were probably bringing first lieutenant.
Well, that depended. When I was playing the French tournament, I brought a major.
Oh, you brought a major. Okay,
Yeah,
that's right. You were doing crazy shit like that.
Yeah, I had a second lieutenant and a major, and I kind of play that one off. It's really the major's command, and the second lieutenant's is like coffee boy.
Right.
But,
It's kind of how that works.
He's the guy holding the clipboard and the whistle.
pretty much, yeah. But I also, in a lot of my lists, will just bring a regular second lieutenant as well, because if I'm not expecting the officer to do much, I'm not going to put any more points in him than I have to.
Fair. All right, so then the next question related to this, because, I mean, obviously maybe we're not giving people quite clear answers, but I feel like a lot of this is dependent on the list. Do you guys typically bring bodyguards? One? Two?
One.
Never bring
one.
two.
Almost always.
Yes, and that I will agree wholeheartedly with, and tell everyone don't bring two, because that makes you not a small team anymore.
Yeah,
Right. If you're at three, you're going to
You
get
did something wrong.
plastered.
I hate
And
that.
I've seen it happen too, whereas...
I like 3.
Okay.
Why? Like, I feel like the negatives outweigh the positives. Like, the extra wound is not valuable when they can shoot you at a less modifier.
I've seen rolls that
You get a
because
submachine
they had
gun for
3...
free.
Okay, well... I've seen rolls that because they were 3 and didn't have the small team, it resulted in 4 more additional hits on the unit than they would have taken, and it wiped the unit. Instead of if they had 2 guys in a small team, they wouldn't have taken any hits.
And that's been my
Extraordinary
experience playing.
circumstances based off of the result of a random cube that we all throw.
Well,
I mean,
yes, that is the reality of dice. Yes.
I don't bring a maxed out 88 anymore because someone got lucky on exceptional damage this one time and destroyed the whole thing with one shot. I mean, no, you don't.
Yeah,
you know.
but it's also statistics. I mean, you're making it 1 in 6 more likely that they're going to be hit.
Right, so you have to play smarter. So you keep them in hard cover. You go down with them if you have to. Or the idea is that 3 submachine guns is much more effective at applying pressure or pins in an interesting or a really important time than
2?
Well, yeah. The idea is
2.
that with 3 guys, I think you can play more aggressively, more forward, than you might with 2. I think because of the discount on the submachine gun that you get, I think it makes 3, kind of worthwhile. What I don't like is that you can't typically give your special rules to your HQ units that you can to your regular troops. So, for example, I'm working on this Fanatic Soviet Winter Army, and everything in it is Fanatic. All of my infantry are, but I can't give it to my HQ. So, don't get that for free.
Gross. This is going to be fun.
Well, I've also done that with the free artillery observers. I'll put a guy with him with submachine guns, and they'll both have submachine guns because they're they don't do any good to me after they've already called an artillery strike, and it's blown back into my lines anyway.
And it's not. And I guess I should be careful. I don't know that it's better than the 2 that you guys are running with. I feel like there may be some value there. So I kind of like it.
Okay, fair. All right.
I have considered doing 3 just for the sole fact that I like to run rapid fire a lot, and that out of that HQ unit would be 3 guys with 4 rifle shots.
You get more shots out of it.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same thing that Dale is saying, is that you're getting a little more, you're getting extra dice to throw at stuff. I've never run it that
sometimes your
way,
small
personally.
teams can't claim objectives, so
That's just
There's that too. I mean, to be fair, there's I see no way that they would stay completely intact throughout the entire game, depending on what's going on.
It would require a particular style of play if you had to protect them, which then you're kind of like, well, I'm being super careful with these guys. I could have done that and saved 10 points on a bro kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
And you can't. I feel like you're talking like they could be hyper aggressive, but I don't think you can be with 3. Like, I feel like that might be complicated.
Just to be more complicated, let me throw one more out for you.
Ooh. Okay.
So snipers, they like to kill officers. So you've got 2 guys, kill the officer, you have to pass a morale. If there's 3 guys in there and you kill the officer, you don't have to pass the morale. I was just throwing it out there.
There's that. Does I can't remember. This is going to make me sound stupid on the air. Do snipers care about small team?
No.
They
only care about pins and
about
if their assistant is gone.
Yeah, they only care about their pins and whether or not their assistant is there.
No, nothing else, right?
No.
I swear there was one other thing they cared about, but okay.
Nope.
They don't have their loader, that's it, yeah.
Oh, they also have to be
matters
further
not-
than 12 inches and less than
Matters not to
36.
snipers then. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's talk through some of the stuff that HQ units can do for you then, because you've already kind of alluded to it, Pat. For one purpose of the snap to action is your artillery pit. So snap to actions. I mean, I think everyone that plays the game is familiar enough with them.
It's not used very often, though.
I feel like it is underutilized a lot of times, and I feel like that's because I wonder if people are always afraid to pull dice early. Like, they don't want to have, like, a significant dice disadvantage later in the turn. I feel like that's a thing. Like, I would like you to act before I start acting.
That only really matters to turn 1-ish. I would think. Especially late game, I think.
It depends.
Getting that first one and then getting more units to activate, I think you're okay. But then again, that also means you keep your lieutenant somewhere that he can do something. He's activating the right units.
Right. To me, I think that might be the hang up for some people. I think that's just why they aren't being used very often, because I think snap to action can be extremely powerful.
Well,
if used correctly.
Let me pose it like this. Based off of your style of plays, and this is for all of you guys, and the tournaments you've gone to and games you've seen, do you think that there's a bias towards playing defensively or offensively?
Ooh. I like it in what respect? Like, I feel like people are very...
Do you find people find it more easier or more to their play style that they play offensively, or do they typically prefer to play more defensively? Because snap to action is a very offensive-oriented special rule.
I feel like people are not necessarily... They are protective of their order dice. If that makes sense. So that's, I would say, more defensive just because of that, right? Would you guys agree? That most people
Yeah.
are like they're not willing to lose dice, so they're going to try and protect
cover
their
to cover
orders.
runners, I like to call them.
Yeah,
That's what they're doing, and that's what they did. They advanced the next cover, so that's a very defensive way.
yeah.
What changes that, enforces it, is scenarios that require you to move to objectives.
Yep.
I find snap to action can be really powerful, but you have to build an army list and a play style to take advantage of that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it can be very powerful, but it depends on the player being willing to utilize it.
Well,
can use
absolutely. Yeah.
You can use it incredibly defensively if you want to. It's just no one ever thinks to. Right? I mean, if you want to have him
You
near
could,
two
yeah.
MMG teams in your sniper, and you snap to action, I'm thinking of a German first lieutenant here, and throw all three of them into ambush. Suddenly, there's a giant no-go zone on the table for your opponent.
Yeah, I've never thought of using your snap to action for ambushes. That is actually a very defensive play, and it is actually very powerful.
Right. So these are just things you can do with it, but I don't think anybody wants to do that because I think they're thinking a little too linearly about how they're going to play the game. You know, I move and then you're going to move and then I'm going to move. Not I might
Right.
at some point get a real big advantage by, snapping to action.
Well, I think some of it's like reacting to tanks. Like, oh, your tank's coming in. I want to make sure that I get the next dice so I can react to your tank coming in. Or, I want to blow up your tank before you blow up mine. Those kinds of things. I'll make a difference in it. So, like, I personally have never I don't utilize snap to action that often. I've never tried what you just said, though. I think I might have to try that sometime. That's kind of a unique look at it. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's always things late turn that you might want to react to that you would be like, I just used 4 dice. But then again, those units that you've probably given the ambush order to or you snap to action are probably not the units that are going to be reacting to it anyway. So, I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe people are just stuck up on it. I don't know.
I just think it's something that people don't think about and don't utilize enough. I mean, for instance, that Nebelwerfer list, right?
Yeah.
If you're waiting for the opportunity to present itself for a good target, right? There's at one point where a guy moves into position, but if he gets the rest of his order dice, he's going to move away from that, so you won't have the good shot anymore.
Right.
So you wait for him to move in there, you get your order dice, you snap to action with the local lieutenant, and you fire friggin' everything.
You mean like the guy moves it into a guy into a church?
No, sure, yeah, that would work. Yeah, and then you snap, you fire everything because now you've got the perfect shot, and you take it.
Right.
Well, there's the offsetting situation where if you're going to have more than a second lieutenant or be Germany, then in order to get the full effect of that second or the first lieutenant or higher, you have to use that snap to action. You're not going to use snap to action on your second lieutenant because if you drew a dice, you're just going to use the dice on whatever you would have snapped to action.
Yeah, it seems worthless on a second lieutenant, quite honestly.
So if all you ever take is a second lieutenant, then maybe that might be part of the reason why. If half of us are only taking second lieutenants, then snap to action really doesn't make any sense, which might also be a reason why we don't see it as often.
I do think that's...
Actually, I differ a little bit on that second opinion dice. It allows you to set up for a second round. So if you have a pinned unit that's currently within 6 inches of your second lieutenant, now keep in mind when you're looking to do snap to action, you can pre-measure to any units that might possibly would be within range before deciding or declaring your snapping to action. That's one of the few things you can pre-measure in the game. So if you have a pinned unit that's close enough to your second Louis, you grab your Louis dice and the second one, get them to do their rally while the Louis is still there, and then you're able to move the Louis off to where he can be a benefit in the next round. Yep. I've done that before.
Yes.
Fair. Yeah. But I could see... I feel like HQ units are most frequently the place where you would shave points. So I could see what you're saying, Dale, where like a lot of people would have second lieutenants and they wouldn't think, as far as Pat just did, about utilizing that dice differently. So I agree kind of in a sense that would be not something that I would be thinking of, or why we don't see it anyway.
And, it just might be that, we're not thinking of the game in the same way that Pat and Jeff are with kind of the different things you can do. But yeah, there's like, I feel like I can ignore half the game when I play Japanese because they just, yeah.
It's a different game, yeah.
Yes.
It is. So, but with the Russians, even I'm playing the Russians because they're all fanatics, so I'm kind of,
Oh, God. At least you had to pay for it this time.
They don't have to be fanatic. You know that, right? Like, you can
Well,
make them not fanatic. I know the list you made is fanatics.
The theory, well, not the theory, the theme, it kind of, they didn't leave. They stayed. They stayed through the whole thing.
Right.
So they kind of were, so.
No, I know. I know the story behind the army you've made, and I get it. Like, totally fanatic. Absolutely fanatic, but they don't have to be fanatic.
You're right, they don't.
You had to pay for it this time, and you could have bought them without it. But you're staying in theme, and you like fanatic, quite honestly.
So yeah, the whole snap to action thing. I think, yeah, for me, I would
Russian,
have to
Japanese.
come up. I'd have to.
Exactly.
I'd have to really, and with Japanese, in order to really take advantage of it, the only time where I'm really interested in grabbing a dice out of the bag is if I've got a pair of anti-tank suicide guys in position to go after a tank. So I'm really interested in getting those guys up. But in order to snap those guys to action, my HQ unit has got to be right up there with them. So it's kind of,
It seems like a lot of times that the lieutenants get left to the back line as the troops move forward.
Yes.
It's just for me, it's an order dice that's easily lost. So
Yeah,
Well,
you're counting up the table and go, why do I have 2 more dice in the back? Oh, yeah, right, my lieutenant.
Hiding behind this corner of the building that I forgot about 3 turns in a row. Oh, and I think that's because, again, them by themselves are not always the most potent piece of your army, right? They've got 2 rifles or 3 rifles or 3 SMGs. They're not doing a lot in the game compared to your other stuff. You got a 12-man squad over there.
Just a tax I had to pay to get the stuff on the table.
Right, and that's what some people might consider it that way.
it's an organizational tax. So
I do think it's interesting. Like, I mean, maybe I have not played enough first lieutenant games. I mean, maybe that would be an interesting challenge to people out there, is to maybe take some bigger HQ units. I mean, I've watched Jeff play with his captain. Or did you have a major? Major?
I had a major.
Yeah, you had a major.
And I think he snapped his second to action.
There were multiple times I've watched you.
half my
snap
army
I
is
chain
army.
snapped my whole army one turn.
Yeah.
Basically.
Which is interesting if, like, especially in that circumstance, if you're doing that early game, you're really putting the pressure on hard quick.
Yeah.
Like, you think it's an interesting tactic. Did it work out? I
won best allied at that time.
Oh, there you go. That's right. You did. Sweet.
So
it worked.
Okay.
So a major and a second Louis. So
Yeah, it's a point investment. There is no doubt, but it
was a major 150 points.
140, I think, but it's a
so
lot.
expensive.
It's a
I
lot.
wish they were cheaper, but they do a lot when they, because it's what is that? That's +4.
It's +4 and 12 inches. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's not insignificant.
It's a 24. I mean, it's a 24-inch bubble. I mean, that's pretty friggin' awesome.
That's pretty amazing. And can he snap bigger, or is it still?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They snap their
at
morale
12?
bonus.
Yep.
Jeez,
So
that's
he's
crazy.
snapping 12 inches.
I
4
do.
units within 12 inches.
I mean, this might be a mini rant in the sense that I wish you could just take a captain or a major, that you didn't need to take a second or first lieutenant.
No argument from me on that.
Like, this seems silly that you have, like you said, you have to have a coffee boy.
Yeah.
Like, I wish there was just a way.
Experienced second Louis.
I know, but that's lame.
But not everybody even has an experienced officer. Some people are stuck with regular.
Right. Like minimum regular. I feel like
50.
I feel like you could just. I wish there was a way to just upgrade your first lieutenant to captain major for a cost. You didn't have to have a second person. So I don't know.
Maybe they'll do that in
personal.
3rd edition.
I'd be happy if they did.
I would love the option to be able to still have both of them, but I would love for the option to be like this captain or major can replace your lieutenant as well.
Yes.
Like, that would be great. Like, that
Aren't there?
seems silly.
Isn't there one of the lists in the Chinese army that does that? One of those Chinese lists that does something similar to that?
I think the communist one did.
I think there's the warlord. It's communist. I think so.
Oh, maybe it was the warlord one.
I think my
Go listen to episode. Hold on, let me go look here.
I feel like we've talked about this before. It's just really familiar.
Episode 19. I just go listen to that one. There might be something about that in there.
It was like 10 months ago. So
10 months ago? Was it only that long ago? February. No, it was last year, my friends. February 15th of 2018 was that episode.
a year ago. Okay.
A year ago. So there you go.
Jesus. All right.
Yeah, right? Isn't it crazy? Crazy time.
Well, I don't know why I can't remember. If we discussed, I should be able to remember. Damn it.
Can't remember everything, Pat. It's okay.
That-
Like you didn't write it down.
Pretty sure that there was one of those that definitely became like a major and replaced the lieutenant role. So there you go, play Chinese.
Yeah, I could do that, I guess. I'd have to buy a bunch of weird miniatures from weird companies somewhere. I don't know where
Let's
I would
ask
find
Ian
them.
where he got his.
They're probably garbage metal too.
They're probably all metal. Killing me, Dale. But yes, they were probably all metal. Although I did see someone making a conversion with I don't remember like German uniforms, and I can't remember what weapons they might have been using Japanese weapons. It was some weird, like they made a case for it. Apparently, they were wearing German uniforms at some point. But certain parts of China were.
All right.
But anyway, I don't know.
No, they're all green anyway.
Right. It was it had to do with German training. Anyway. So then morale bonus. We kind of talked about morale bonus. Like you get some bonuses, get some cool shit.
And again, that's that really comes down to what's the overall experience level. How much of a bonus do you really need when you're looking at your list? Did you put all vets? They probably don't need a major for morale bonus if you have all vets because you're capped at 10 regardless. That means you have vet units that can sit at 4 pins and still follow orders, but still not hit the broadside of a barn when they're shooting. So,
Yeah, well, you just have them assault then.
right.
Yeah, there you go. So, but I mean, if you're bringing in all inexperienced units, although I don't know any of us have ever done that, Jeff, you did that once, and I think you regretted it.
I hated it, but yeah, you can do it.
You can do it.
I have never put an inexperienced unit on the table yet.
Wow. Okay. I think I've been forced to
I
at
can't
one
do
point. Yeah. No, I
can't do
fair. It's hard.
They don't listen.
They don't
Do something. No, we're going to cower
Well,
here, thanks. Shoot
no,
these
no.
guys. Who?
They'll listen, but you better babysit them with a captain or a major.
Right.
Right.
That's exactly the point I was making with the inexperience. Is if you're going to bring them, you might want to think about upping your leadership or your morale bonus just to get things to move when you want them to. So it seems kind of counterintuitive in a sense that your 50-point inexperienced squad is now babysitted by a 140-point captain or major at that point.
So
Silly.
We haven't really said that it's an error or a problem, but we have called it a tax. What do you think from a points standpoint? How much of a point reduction do you think would make these really good? I don't feel bad about taking this. I want to take 2 of these.
Like majors?
I would like to see them as something, not necessarily their own unit, but something that gets added onto a unit.
Like
Your first officer upgrade is part of this unit. Because they're in such a small unit, I think they're kind of vulnerable and not as effective in that sense.
So
Sure.
So your first and second lieutenant become officer unit upgrades, a single unit upgrade, and your captain and major cut their points in half, and they become
Part of that unit.
small options where they can have two guys with them or something like that. I'm thinking like a 50%.
I would even like to see them
a 50% reduction would be awesome.
And I'd like to see them have, not necessarily be limited to just having Larry and Mo with them, but maybe up to 5 in the total unit.
Honestly, I would be fine if the 50 points bought you the second lieutenant and his 2 bro friends, and that was the unit.
Like it was always the same
It's 3 guys.
setup. It's always
Yep.
3 guys.
It's always 3 guys, and it costs you 50 points.
Right. I honestly would find it to be okay if your second if you could have a major or captain instead. Like if if a captain and major was 100, like if it was 140 points, but I didn't have to have a second lieutenant, I'd probably take it.
Yeah.
Like it's a good
man.
option.
Man,
Yes.
that's 10 veterans. It's just like
I know it's so expensive, but it's not.
That's 10 veteran paratroopers.
Right, but if you think about it in a sense that you're still bringing a lieutenant, that's 50 to 70 points, depending on what you're bringing, that's
75
unreasonable.
for a first Louis.
Yeah, your
Yeah,
second lieutenant
85.
is 5 regular guys. I'd rather have 5 regular guys in every scenario.
Well, yes, but I don't know. I
I've
like the
made
morale.
very good use of them.
I'm intrigued by the bigger guys, but I've just never been able to take them because, again, I don't have the points. And usually the place where I'd want to take them from is your lieutenant.
And that's a fair point that you make, Jeff. I just don't know how to use mine, probably. So
Right, because you've never had to.
and all my guys are only have swords ever when I was playing
Right.
Japanese.
Yeah.
So.
Right, yeah, your guy is fodder. He's
Well, and again, your units. I mean, the snap to action for you is fine because that's the number of units you could activate. But the morale bonus doesn't really mean shit to you when
right.
when you automatically pass.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm going to run and get to pass
Yep.
it for free. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't
Right.
mean anything.
So if you're not interested in HQs, play Japanese.
Or fanatic Russians, yeah,
or any fanatic. I mean,
anything fanatic will do you just fine. So it's interesting. Like, I don't know. So we've already kind of talked about this other topic of the transport sitting. I think that's game changer for me too. I think in a sense, like I don't know that I would ever bring inexperienced trucks personally still, but you could.
I'm thinking the other element of that. So you've got a transport that's dumped its troops. It still has a weapon, it still has 2 weapons. It can only, if an empty transport can only fire one of its weapon systems. If it has another one on board, a unit has to be on there to fire it. And also, at the end of the round, empty transports, if they're closer to enemy units than they are friendly, are automatically removed. If you just keep a 35-point second Louis in the transport,
And shooting
fine.
him with him, yeah.
or a 23-point medic,
yeah.
Shooting
a ton
a
of-
big machine gun too. That makes sense.
as medics do, yes.
How many multi-weapon transports are there? I know of one in a French list.
Universal Carrier.
Americans have it too. The LVT does. All the LVTs do.
Okay.
All
The
they
Wrecking
can have
Carrier
4.
has an option for 2.
Yeah, the LVT the LVT-6 can have 4 machine guns on it.
Right. So your Marines are a big one.
Yeah, Marines get it. Like Marines get multiples, but I don't know that like. Otherwise, there aren't that many that have multiple.
I can't think of a single German vehicle that has more than 1.
I can't think of. There's a lot of German vehicles that don't have any.
Well, yeah, there's that too. Most the ones that do have them only have 1.
Transport? Do none of the shit, I can't say the name. The armored transports, the treaded armored transports. Don't some of them have hull mounted and
251.
the 251s?
No.
Yeah, the however
No.
the fuck you say that.
The SDKFZ 250-1s.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
they
yeah.
just have a
Pinto mounted
forward facing.
or hull
A
mounted.
lot of them you can give a machine gun facing out the back.
Right. Okay.
Yes,
But
But
they
it
have one
faces out the
face.
back.
Yeah, but they have a forward facing one too, right? Like it's a hull
Singular
mounted.
forward
Yeah.
facing, and one you can mount one out the back.
It's just kind of a weird
I hate
configuration
mounting stuff
for,
out the
like,
back.
Yeah.
Well, the one in the back is supposed to be for it's pintle. Is it pintle? No,
The front
it's
is pintle, forward facing, and the back is also pintle.
but you can only shoot in the back arc. So, if I
Right.
remember
Well,
correctly.
The one that they
They're
have
shooting
can only
airplanes.
cover the front arc, but the pintle means yes, you can shoot airplanes.
Yeah.
Right,
Which
that's the important part.
is another HQ unit that doesn't really ever make the table because its rules are dumb.
Yeah, I would love to see them update all those roles just because
Just
You
have
know-
someone to bring them.
50-50 shot, you're going to land that shit on yourself. Like,
It's a
that's
1
no
in 6,
fun.
but it feels like a 50-50.
Yeah. When it matters most, it's going to land on you, and you're going to get the big plane. And you're never going to get the big plane on your opponent. It's only when it
And
lands
the
on you that you
Americans
get
always
the
have.
big ass
The
point.
Americans can do it to themselves twice.
And I've seen it happen twice.
They over nerfed those in this edition, unfortunately.
Yeah, they might have. To be fair, I would have been kind of disappointed if they were super strong and everyone was bringing them, and basically I just nuked your army. Nobody wants a purple sun.
No, but
It seems silly that that they couldn't at least balance it so that it does something and it just always kind of does what it's supposed to do versus like
Even if you roll a random dice and whatever unit is pointing at, it's that unit, and not the opponent gets to pick it. That's the toughest part.
yeah, they get to pick the line that your plane lands. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a little absurd.
The artillery one is a little bit more normal, like, it's scattered and it lands where
it
it
deviated.
is.
Sure,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't... You don't see them. So, The medic in the truck, by the way, don't do that, because your medic's supposed to be out fixing people, not shooting guns, by the way.
Yeah, he won't be able to fix
you don't
anybody.
get to you don't get to use his fixing ability if you're in a truck.
Yeah, seriously, you're
Yeah,
wasting
and you're-
25 points to do that.
Well, I mean, he's still shooting a gun, but that's still...
Another 25 points to shoot a gun. That's just
There's a
that's
lot of
expensive
sarcasm
gun.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And don't put your
come on.
don't put your observers in there, because then they can't do their other stuff. And getting back on border transport during a round
the
during a
worst
game
thing
is
ever.
terrible. It's like so many. You have to align the stars and then put left foot on blue and your right hand on yellow and hope to God the truck doesn't move.
Right. And then it moved, and you're like, oh, shit. I'll wait.
Yeah, I got to start all over.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, it is what it is. In reality, I think a lot of us take second lieutenants, but now we're going to have to start playing with some other ones, because I think there's some interesting... I will be playing with some other ones just to see what it does, even though
I
that's
wonder
a
what
lot
a
of points.
first lieutenant with the full squad would actually do with all SMDs. Then you want to be a veteran, because now he's the actual fighting force.
Right, the three-man fighting
How
force.
does that run you?
A lot of points.
Well, yeah, there's that.
85?
Well, I think
Depends on who you're playing, like which army. No, it doesn't really matter, does it?
no, they're generic across the board.
Right. You still want to bring
What
German.
is a
one, 'cause the
veteran
German
first
one-
lieutenant? Is he 95 points?
Ouch,
Sounds
if
right.
he is.
No, don't do that.
No, not that high.
Well,
90.
no.
So
veteran first
90
lieutenant's
points for a
90
veteran
points.
first lieutenant, and then you're talking another 26 points for a full squad. So 116 for 3-man veteran unit.
Yeah, just do him regular first, Louis.
I don't know. Come on, guys.
It's tougher
116
kills a
points.
vet.
Yeah.
Well,
If you got 116 points laying around, I can suggest some other ways to spend them.
Yeah, if you're
You're not
playing
that
in
far from a major
1250,
at that point.
No, right? But you have to take both. So take both. Come on. Let's see.
It'll be great.
Veteran major? Come on, you can do this. You can spend
165,
plus
26,
it's 307 points for a first lieutenant and a major. That
and you don't have any troops yet.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you're well on your way to the 15 order dice limit at 750 points for the GT.
307 points. What'd you figure out there, Rick?
What? No, I'm
307.
Yeah, 307.
Okay. I thought you said it's a bigger number. Never mind.
No, so I said 307.
Okay.
But
Jesus, and you have it. You can snap together everyone you don't have.
What's a Panzer 4D?
4D,
Regular.
G,
Yeah. Or G. The one with Tiger Fair.
230.
235?
230 or 235.
235.
Which one would I choose?
Why not both?
Put your hands together.
You got to take it as a veteran if you're taking everything else as veteran. So now you're talking 282 points.
They're too expensive.
See, and that's the other thing too, that so people who run all veteran forces and throw like an inexperienced second Louis to run them is kind of like, really? That's the min-maxing thing. By the rules, you can absolutely do it, but I know we have some local terms around here that say that you can take that shit and shove it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing to remember is, you're comparing it to a Panzer 4G or something. There's a fair number of armies that don't have access to anything better,
Yep, fair enough.
like French or Polish or Norwegian.
Right. There are things that don't have that as an option. You're right. Good point.
So suddenly that major's looks a lot better when you're not.
When that's all you got available to you,
Right.
Right.
Yay.
You don't have 300 points or 230 or 250 that you're spending on a good tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fair point. If you don't have other things that are more points efficient, and the best thing you can do is something like that, then it certainly looks a lot more attractive. So
I don't know,
Still,
man. I'm
I think
making
I'd rather have guys, even non-fanatic guys. So
So you got that regular major and an inexperienced second lieutenant in my 1940 Battle of Norway Norwegian list, 185 points. Well, that's 5 snap dice and a +4 from the major. It's not terrible. When all you got are infantry squads, that's starting to sound pretty damn good.
I'm putting
There's
together
that.
a deck list that's just all Scherzen squads or whatever the hell they are.
Those things, by the way, side note, spoiler alert for anyone listening, those things are going to break the frickin' combat patrol size meta terribly.
Oh, they're awful. They are going to break it.
Oh, the
You're right.
Scherzen squads?
The Scherzen squads, yeah, they're
Free 20
atrociously-
points.
They're
yeah.
just, yeah.
Yeah, that's,
I mean,
and
one
that's-
time you're like, whatever, but 5 squads, you've saved 100 points now.
yeah.
At 60
that's
points
pretty
each.
gross. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
actually, okay, we can cover that on the other side, but actually those units are not allowed in the combat patrol for Adepticon anyway.
Aren't
We
they?
can cover that after the break, though.
Yeah. Why don't we? I think we've
Check what's in-
pretty much beat the hell out of HQ tactics as much as we
HQ
can.
I'm pretty sure,
HQ units.
and I'm pretty sure you
Bolt
went
action can do
every
better.
direction you
Warhammer can do
could and
better.
didn't give any solid advice to anybody.
No, I'm sure we've given nobody any help whatsoever. However, there's lots of things to
talked
take
about
it. Like there's nuggets in there. You can. I think the point is that you're going to have to figure out what works for you from all the stuff that we talked about, and you're going to probably have to focus on one of those things because there's like 6,000 different ways you can use them.
And if you're one of those people that always cuts corners on your HQ unit and skimps points, take a breather and take a second look. You might find they're worth spending points on.
Yeah. No, I definitely was one of those skimpers, and I feel like I might have to go back and like reconsider, especially given some of those other tactics you talked about. I think that's a very intriguing idea. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side and talk about some tourney stuff. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, for sure.
Swedish music for break. I don't know what I have. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. We'll be back in 3
All right,
minutes.
see you in a bit.
All right, welcome back. Hope you like the music.
You seriously got to put that on a shirt.
Seriously, I want the shirt that says that too.
I might make a special shirt just for you guys.
Should.
You have to.
It might not be on the back because I don't know how much a back print shirt costs, but it might be a special front shirt.
Put it down on the belly bumper then.
Yeah, as far down as I can go.
And I want to draw
Yeah.
everyone's eyes down towards that region.
Yes, right. Like, yeah, the crotchal region. Yes, that's a great
Well,
place.
you're gonna have to get over my stomach roll first. So
Anyways, all right. Well, anyway, welcome back. So we've been all over the place tonight, but we've kind of talked about some of this stuff before too. Some of you guys are going to Adepticon. I'm
dun
not.
dun dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, you guys are all. So Jeff and Pat, you guys are going, right? And you guys are.
Is it the
you guys
last
are working
2
on
years
it.
we've missed, Jeff?
Yeah, I think so.
2 years? It's already been
Did
2
we only
years.
skip, maybe we only skipped 1 year. I can't remember. I think we only
When
skipped 1
when
year.
was
I
the
don't know
shrimp
either.
cocktail?
Oh Christ! I don't know, man. Everything since then's been a blur.
Right, you've just never been the same since.
I got like a shrimp in my brain, slowly eating it.
It's just in your intestine. You get it instead of a shrimp or a
Monsters.
Check our
and
Facebook
Jeff.
page, is it because we had that lockout on our Facebook stuff, and I think maybe we just missed the 1 year.
I think we just missed 1 year.
I don't. Well, the lockout was the first year, right?
Yeah,
Shrimp,
and we had just
shrimp
kicked
cocktail
off the
was
podcast.
the next year, right?
Yep. No, we got locked out the same year as the shrimp cocktail.
Yeah,
Was it really the same year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
always feel the same to me because no matter where I go, my fucking key doesn't work. So
That's because you got such a magnetic personality.
yeah, no, it means I just set it next to my phone like an idiot.
Your phone's trying to give you cancer. You be careful.
Well, yes, I'm pretty sure it has given me cancer at this point. But all right, I'm trying to go back and look at the God. Facebook sucks.
It wasn't last year, so it's been a bit.
Was it?
It's
Is it 2 years
been-
ago?
2 years ago I think we were there.
Yeah.
It was not last year. I know we missed
We
last year.
absolutely missed last year.
I think it was the year before, though.
But we are for sure going this year.
Damn right.
Hotel's already
No.
covered and everything.
Yeah.
Did we? Yeah, I was trying to figure out what year we. I don't remember now. I'm getting them. They're all blurring together because they usually are a blurry weekend for me anyway.
That's how you know it's fun.
Usually, that's how I know I had a good time. Is that I forgot about the entire weekend. Just trying to think
Well,
of
go
when.
to our website and see what the Adepticon thing series.
I can answer this
episode.
question because we were wearing Snafu shirts at the last time we were at Adepticon.
Right, and we've
Yes.
only been around for 30 episodes, so that was
There you go.
definitely less than 2 years ago. Hey, we're like Sherlock Holmes and shit here. All right. So some of you guys are going back. I will not be joining you because that's too close to baby time. God, I feel like I just fucking said this last time too.
Is that actually announced? Is that a thing?
I don't know. Well, it's announced on Facebook now. If somebody knows they're friends with me or whatever, my wife is having twins. So holy hell, we're gonna have 4 kids. Hence why I'm never gonna be leaving the house ever again. I might get to paint some shit
overrated.
though. Leaving the house, yes, it is. Especially if you've watched Bird Box, then you're like you never want to leave the house again anyway. No, so
Episode
yeah, we're
5, 2017.
there. You go.
Sorry,
So that's what month of 2017?
It's 2 years
April
ago.
5, 2017. So we missed one.
So you missed one.
One.
Yeah, because this is going to be the 2019 coming up. Yep. Okay,
Yep.
that makes sense. I didn't realize that you guys didn't go last year, even though I knew I wasn't going. So, okay,
I was in Europe.
that's right.
Yeah, that's-
there was a bunch of
Yeah.
different things. Yeah. Okay.
Well, sorry, it's total sidetrack there, but super congratulations, in case that hasn't really been...
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not been announced in the
That's
bolt
awesome.
action world, but yeah, we're
Right.
excited.
Congratulations.
It's scary and exciting at the same time, right?
Yeah.
It could be
Like
both of those
1,000 mile
things.
an hour with your hair on fire.
Right.
You're not the first person to do it. Others have survived. I've got faith in you.
So do I.
We will,
As
we will
is-
see you come out the other end at some point.
God, I don't want to see me come out the other end. That sounds awful. Like,
Depending on how that works out, yes. That
yeah,
could be
fair.
Pretty bad.
Well, you might get chewed up and shit out later. That's probably going to be the reality of it. But
fair to say the next year you will be covered in shit, yes.
yes. Anyway, so back to Adepticon. That reason I won't be going, but you guys are going to be going, and I'm going to live vicariously through you guys taking pictures of which
God,
events
I'm
are you guys
terrible taking
doing?
pictures.
I know Jeff will do it for you.
I'll try to.
Maybe he
And then
won't.
not post them.
It's okay if he doesn't. It's okay, guys.
Are you bringing your nice camera, Jeff? Or not that
Yeah.
nice?
I'll bring my nice camera.
there
Okay.
you go.
So Jeff
So-
and I are both signed up to do Combat Patrol, which is Thursday night, right after we get there. So hopefully we don't
How-
run into bad weather or traffic.
Hopefully neither. Like, hopefully all the bad weather will be done by then.
Yeah.
like tolls, you'll still hit like 7,000 tolls.
Well, we're just going to roll every stop sign like Kurt did. So.
There you go. Yeah, we're not taking the back route. We're paying the $12 in tolls or whatever we need to get there.
Yes.
It is a lot of money. It's like $30. It's expensive, but you're right.
Well,
it saves you
both ways.
Both ways, it's like
it
$30.
saves you almost a half hour.
It
And
does.
the tollways are in pretty good shape. I mean, the roads
They're in very good
are
shape.
good.
Usually you can drive really fast on them too,
Yeah.
because there's usually not a lot of cops on them. But they, you do pay a little bit more for them. Whatever, you'll figure it out. You guys will have a good time driving down there together. So you do combat patrol Thursday night. How many points is that?
450.
450, and it's a special build.
Interesting.
So,
Out of curiosity, to go back a step, are these the same people that were running it last year? I remember hearing something about was Warlord going to kind of take over these events at Adepticon?
Warlord is taking over Nationals.
Just Nationals. Okay, so everything else is still being run by the same people.
Is it the Chicago Dice guys?
Jeremy and Paul, Chicago guy? Yeah.
Okay,
Jeremy and Paul,
they're still running the same ones. Okay, that's cool. I'm glad that they didn't lose out on all of the events. That would seem silly, but I was curious how that worked because I remember hearing something about Warlord had taken over at least some management.
I think John Russell's actually running Nationals. Actually.
Okay, interesting. Because
don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he is.
Hopefully, he's not running it by himself.
Well, they're going to have a booth and a bunch of people there, so I'm guessing not.
I guess he's probably going to have some raiders with him anyway. Though, I mean, I remember in years past, you barely saw the Warlord guys out of the Warlord booth. They barely. I guess we played against one of them or two of them. Never mind.
That's it. The first year we went and bought in to Bolt Action, we actually caught those guys who were there outside of the room and actually were able to talk to them and that kind of stuff. So
that was the year we were looking for a demo all weekend, though.
Right, and then just
we'd
bought
keep missing
it anyway because we never saw a demo. It was like, screw it, let's just play.
Yeah,
sounds fun. Go.
Yep.
I think that was every time we go up there, oh yeah, we just put it all away. You're like, what? Come on, man, killing me. But yeah, okay. Interesting. So 450 points, and it's got a weird build. Is there anything super weird or outstanding about it?
All right, so maximum of 8 order dice.
Okay.
The weirdest thing is these are 90-minute rounds.
Youch, that's super. I hate that. I hate so slow and so fast.
How many rounds in the time period?
It's normal, so 6. I mean, six rounds within 90 minutes. 6 turns, sorry. There's 3 games.
3 games, okay.
And it goes until 11 p.m. or something ridiculous like that.
Okay.
So maximum 8 order dice. Nobody gets free units, so I won't get my observer. Soviets don't get their inexperienced squad.
Good. That's a good call at that size.
Yes, that's a very good call.
At that size, yes. No weapons with an HE 3-inch or 4-inch.
Interesting.
Maximum 1 flamethrower. No vehicle flamers. Come on, guys.
Yeah, right? Fuck.
Maximum of 3 vehicles. No armor 9 or higher. No forward observers. No captains, no majors.
I think this is okay.
It sounds fine. The 3 vehicle thing kind of bugs me, but why are they limiting the number of vehicles? Well, in likeliness, you're not going to have more than 3 anyway, but what if you wanted to bring a bunch of Jeeps?
Nope.
You can't.
Yes, you can't. I guess it just seems silly. I don't know why. I don't know why that's such a that's going to break it, especially when you have 8 order dice.
8 order dice max.
Yeah, nothing. You don't need to put all these guardrails on. One of these guardrails is going to stop any of the crazy shit that's possibly going to happen. I would think. But okay, all right.
Whatever.
Will be awesome.
450 points. I've played a couple demo games. I don't see me using all 90 minutes.
Really?
No,
okay.
I don't think that'll
pretty
be
quick.
Yeah.
Not at 450, yeah.
450 is pretty quick. What were we playing at Renegade?
700.
Was Recon Rumble was 700?
You're talking about the Recon Rumble 700.
Okay.
And 8 order dice.
And how many? And that was 90-minute rounds too, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a little too quick. It wasn't quite enough time, in my opinion. But I don't know. Anyway, okay.
So in the fine folks at Adepticon have enacted some house rules. The first, so they're allowing basically any unit in the game. All units from second edition campaign books are allowed.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Your combat platoon may be selected units from single National Armies of book or the bolt action second edition rule book. Yeah, they are allowing all second edition units, huh?
Yes, they are.
So the war reporter or cameraman rules are not going to be used. So if you remember Western Desert,
So no propaganda.
right?
Yeah, that's okay.
The turret jam rule will not be used. Okay.
No turret jam.
Fixed team weapons. When dealt exceptional damage that would otherwise remove the fixed team weapon, make a morale check with pins. If passed, the team remains on the table. Still remove a casualty for the damage, but another crewman takes up the lead position. And they're nerfing snipers.
Yes, hardcore.
They're nerfing snipers big time.
Oh,
Well, for
interesting.
What that's
fixed
doing.
teams,
Which normally exceptional damage from, say, a sniper would remove mortar,
Machine gun
remove the
team,
mortar,
mortar
remove
team.
MMG.
right?
But not anymore.
Not anymore. Now they just have to make a morale test and say, "Sorry, sniper, we're good."
Not a fan. But whatever. It's his tournament.
It's their turn. Yeah, it's. I was playing a demo game with, or we were doing a test game with Jesse, and Thursday I told him that. He's like, "What? I have a sniper." I said, "Sorry."
That's
Sorry.
almost 50 points.
I don't know if your tournament's
Yeah.
going to have that same rule, but mine is, so.
Well,
Sorry.
maybe not great in 450. So
Sniper. You know,
It's interesting.
I still have not had a world of success with snipers at all. I really haven't.
Yeah, not
I've
really.
stopped putting them in my list. And I
I
also
still put them
haven't.
on my list. But
I haven't had a lot of success against me with them, so.
we play with tables that mitigate that somewhat, though.
You know, to cover the line of sights and things like that. Well, now, historically, what I remember of Adepticon is that they'd have some relatively open tables. They're not the same level of terrain that we do at Snafu.
Right. It's because they usually have to have more tables, typically. Got a bigger tournament.
So, I mean, it could be, you figure that out, then they don't want snipers to dominate, especially in combat patrol, where 3 turns, you can take out 3 units, which could be pretty rough.
Yeah. I could see that being problematic. Okay. It sounds like fun, though.
it should be a good time.
Yeah.
First
Not a
game,
big-
see, 5:30 to 6 we check in, 90 minutes, and we are scoring and awards by 11:30 p.m.
After
Pretty
you've
tight.
driven all day.
That's
Yeah.
why you play a small army that's easy to play.
Yeah. the no-brainer.
That's,
click.
again, why I have my British, and I'm not trying to do a German army for that.
Fair. Okay.
I'm
So it
familiar
means you got
enough
to bring
with
2
it.
armies, but who cares?
There's such
Okay.
450 that's not going to take up any space at all.
No, right. There's
And there's only 2 of us in the
the.
car. I think we can squeeze an extra foam tray in.
You guys could
Yeah.
bring like 7 tables with you, if anyone's listening.
Yeah. We're not going to, but we could.
I'm not going to. No one's reached out and asked me to bring anything, or has talked about compensating me for bringing anything. So
Right.
Fair.
I'm sure they've got that handled.
They do. I'm sure. There's enough Chicago guys. There are guys running other tournaments there.
Yeah, they've been running tournaments longer than we have, so
Yes, they have.
Yep.
I was going to say that's a good point. Most of the tables I've seen are all been great. So they're just usually a little more open.
most,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so then that's Thursday. So Friday, more bolt action,
More bolt action.
shopping and bolt
yeah.
action.
Well,
Mostly
I think
bolt
this
action.
is
Yeah,
mostly bolt action. Because by the time we're done, the vendor's hall is closed.
Yeah.
So unless we just like table somebody in the first third of a game and then go shop for a little bit.
Right.
Fuck it, let's go shopping. Okay, so you guys are playing in the doubles together, correct?
Yep.
This is a really fun one. I always like playing in this one, and also this year they're doing the Western Desert theme, which I think is kind of
Which
cool.
I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I know you guys had both bought tickets, and I am a little disappointed that you guys didn't like go out and find random fans that
Some
are
randos
get a
to
tip.
team up with.
I thought that would have been pretty fun that you 2 fans got to hang out. if you like.
Well, we can do it for next year, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'd never got to team up with Jeff before, so I think that'd be kind of fun too.
You guys have grandiose ideas of maybe winning some hardware.
I think we'll be a tough matchup. I think between the two of us, we can general ship enough stuff.
Yeah, you guys will do. You guys will have fun. Hopefully, you guys will have fun. And you guys are like making a list that are like not inexperienced trucks.
No fluffy bunnies.
Yeah.
Well, I might bring inexperienced trucks. Who knows? I love inexperienced trucks.
I wish you. I hope you do. Just because I don't know that Pat would have the same response that I did.
Dying inside.
I was dying a little.
That's
inside.
Okay as long as you put that veteran First Louis in the driver's seat. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. See, it'll be just fine.
Yeah, I think you would have died a lot more inside than I did. I was chuckling on the outside.
Yeah, I was dying on the inside.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. But anyway, all right. So, how many points? So, how many points is that one?
So this one is it 1,400 points aside?
Yes.
But it's divided any way you want to some extent.
Right. So the sum of our two lists must be 1,400 points or less, and must be how many order dice?
I want to say 18.
No more than 18
or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And wait, I'm sorry, 1,400 points. You said.
Yeah, and then to be judged awesome or whatever, we have to be within 100 points of each other. Apparently.
Oh, really?
We're within 2.
Yeah, we're within 2.
So I think we're okay.
We'll be okay.
You're okay. So they're within a certain point range of each other.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So they don't want someone to get best appearance and be a 300 point and a whatever the other one is.
Right.
Point.
Yeah. Okay. Because the other part of this is that one of you guys could bring a tank platoon, correct?
Yes.
So like an armored platoon you can have. So, but not both of you. Just one of you could.
Just one.
Okay.
Right.
So that I do like. I think we've talked about this before. The flexibility that offers, like making sure that you're not, like if somebody's bringing a tank platoon, they're not going to just be like, hey, I've got 2 tanks, yay. They might be able to get a little bit more.
Well, tank platoon minimum is 3.
Right. That's. I'm sorry. Yeah, 3.
Which
tanks.
they could still do that.
They could.
There's nothing stopping them from doing that.
No, but there's potential that they could get a little bit more too on top of that if they really like.
They could
potentially be able to get a unit or 2 as well, which is kind of nice, I guess. Interesting. Okay.
So for this one they've got some static deployment, which isn't anything abnormal. It's just they're just saving some space in their turning packs. It looks like.
Yeah. See, so I don't have to drive on the board. My trucks could be inexperienced.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. Well, unless the missions makes exceptions. So there's that nice little disclaimer in there.
Suck.
This is what it's going to be, unless it's not. Oh, thanks for that.
Thanks. That's helpful.
That was very useful. And then they got some house rules in this one. Again, the turret jam isn't going to be used, and then they have the same fixed team weapon is, still making the morale for exceptional damage. So they're still nerfing the snipers on this one.
Okay.
And then non-veteran Panzer IV GHJ do not receive Tiger Fear special rule.
This is stupid to me.
Tremendous bullshit.
I hate this rule.
Well, when you look at a Panzer IV and see it's being driven with precision, that there must be veteran people inside, and that terrifies you and mistakes it for a Tiger.
That's
not the silhouette or the profile.
Right, that's not right. When they have the skirts on and they got the fucking turret skirt on, it looks like a Tiger. It doesn't matter who's fucking driving it.
Yeah, just either don't fucking use Tiger Fear or whatever, and give them a point.
Sorry, I missed my sarcasm horn on that one.
Yeah,
right.
And give them a point reduction since they're not getting their fucking rule with the tank.
Right. Yeah, really, ultimately, that's what it is. It's like for 235, that tank should be what 195.
Yeah.
No, it's same as an Easy 8, 235.
235?
Yeah, but it doesn't have the gyroscope.
But it doesn't have any of the other rules with it. Like, it doesn't,
it's a +6 2-inch HE.
Yeah, but you can't get...
What's the Easy 8?
Right, I know they're the same stats,
They're the same.
Pat. I get that aspect of it, but the Americans have something else going for them. That's the point. Like, they have another special rule that they can potentially get. Like...
It doesn't... Well, they would be a veteran to get the stabilizers.
Get it, but okay, let's go. I'm aside. I think it's silly. I get the aspect of like maybe there were only veteran Panzers left at the point the Tigers were rolling out, but I don't like it. Doesn't justify it to me. Like, I don't know. Whatever.
Maybe they don't want those dominating the tournament,
which is very potentially possible. I just don't like. I mean, I guess I get the point. Like, I get it. It's just silly to me that they have to feel like they need to change the rules of the game.
I don't. Let me rephrase that. I was going to double negative that. I agree with you.
I don't
agree with you.
I don't.
I was going to say I
you.
don't disagree with you,
Yeah.
but I'm like, well, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, like it just seems silly to me that they had to make that change. But whatever, it's their tournament. They can do what they want. And that's fine.
I don't care. I'm bringing a Panzer III. So
there you go. There, it's fine. Which there's no way to get Tiger Fear on that one. So
no, not at all. It's just a regular Sherman. I mean Panzer III.
yeah, right. Yeah.
And since we're playing Western,
Well, I
Desert,
suppose
I'm not bringing my armored platoon of all Panzerwerfers. So,
Wow.
which is what I would do if we were not playing for theme. It would be 5 Panzerwerfers.
But we're playing for theme because
We're playing for theme.
that sounds like a lot of fun, honestly. And there's a lot of clubs are also. It looks like everyone signed up to do that.
Which is
from
good.
what I've seen.
Like,
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I mean, that idea is great. I do like what they've done with the idea of like Western Desert. Like, everyone's got to try and play Western Desert.
Well, and if it's Western Desert, there better not be any Tigers anyway. So
Yeah. Well, do you remember, though, you're only guaranteed to play against other Western Desert players for the first 2 rounds.
Oh, really? Okay.
oh sure.
The third money round for the winner, because that's what's important. Could be against anything.
Anybody?
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. I mean, that is going to happen, but
Yeah, it'll be a points matchup.
That's fine. Whatever.
I don't care.
nonetheless,
I'll sideboard in my Panzerwerfers.
to be fair, if,
Sideboard.
yeah.
I like it.
The Western Desert, you're right. They didn't really have tigers yet, so the Tiger Fear thing would make less sense as well.
They did not, which is why I should just say they don't get Tiger Fear.
Which sure, that's fine. Instead of making you pay extra for the thing that you're supposed to get anyway. But yeah, that makes sense from a historical standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Game standpoint, not so much in my opinion. But okay, and if I remember right, there were a couple other rules that I didn't necessarily wholeheartedly agree with. But that's
That's changes that people don't like turret jam. We're not using turret jam.
Yeah, that one's silly. That's what I was going to bring up. I'm like, did someone get butt sore about having their fucking tank get locked down at some point? That's a big deal. Like, oh yeah, my tank got disabled. Nope, my turret got jammed in the front arc. Oh well.
Yeah.
Like,
it may also just be a convenience thing. Everyone fucking forgets that rule.
sure,
as it is.
I guess.
And it's the only roll in the game that's backwards. 1 through 3 is good.
It's good.
Fair.
Yeah.
They could have just errated it to be the opposite, but in reality,
4+ you're fine.
Yeah. It just, to me, it boggles my mind that is such a big diff. Like,
I think it's the forgotten thing, like Jeff said.
I think
maybe
it's just everyone always forgets it.
I guess, yeah. But then they just made a rule about it. Why don't they just let people forget about it then? Like, oh, you forgot about it. Ha, good job.
Because some
it's
people like Pat would always remember and be upset that other people didn't ever use
sure,
it.
fair. You're like turret jam, and everyone's like, I didn't do that last 4 games. You're like,
What's turret jam? I've done that all weekend.
No, that's fair.
But I rolled.
Yeah.
But I rolled high. That should be good.
I'd be good.
Yeah,
It is
no,
Chicago.
fair. Like, I get your point about that. It's just, to me, it's one of those silly things that, like, you're changing a rule that means nothing in the game. In reality, like, it's like either you remember it or you don't. That is probably of little consequence. But
Yeah, not disagreeing, but
it just seems like if there's the thing you're going to fix, like that's not the thing I would have picked. That's not the battle. I
Hey,
would
I'm
have
bringing a
fought.
Panzer III. It's got a turret. I'm happy it can't get jammed.
Right. Yeah. No. Well, right. I guess.
Sorry. I might be bringing a Panzer III.
Right.
too late. Everyone, he's bringing it.
You're bringing British? Okay.
Yeah, the British Panzer III.
Yeah.
You familiar with that one?
Captured one, yes.
Oh,
that-
please let me blow up some Matilda 2s.
Okay.
I would be interested to see a Matilda 2 armored platoon.
That'd be fucking awesome.
That'd be
That'd be
awesome.
cool.
Sign me
That
up
would
for
be
that.
cool.
Sign me up for that.
135 points.
They're only
Yeah, we've already
135
declared.
points?
With light anti-tank and a coaxial NMG
Wow.
at armor 9+.
Wow.
Yeah, they're kind of pants.
What?
They don't even have a hull mount, so
Yeah, they're pants.
Yeah. Okay. Cheap.
Now, I could haul ass and bring an armored platoon of Char B-1 Bisses. That'd be freaking awesome.
that would be
Light
interesting.
That would
anti-tank
be-
gun in the turret, light howitzer in the hull, machine gun in the hull, machine gun in the turret.
Jeez.
Get
Yeah, you'd have a lot of.
fun. Armor 9 all around.
Yeah, that would be. How many points are those?
Like 235, I think.
Okay.
Or what about some Matilda frogs?
Well, they're one
The
vehicle
flamers,
flamethrower.
Yeah.
Sorry, 155 for the Matilda 2. My bad.
One
Jeez.
flamethrower. One flamethrower.
You can only have one flamethrower. That's right. Because I mean,
Or is that rule in there actually?
no, that was only combat patrol, right?
Yeah.
That was
How
only
about
combat patrol.
I don't know. I was
Oh,
looking.
I could have brought an entire platoon of flame hetzers. God, no one would want to play with me ever again.
Hey, I got a print for that.
Pat wouldn't have wanted to play
Well,
with
I
you
got a
anymore.
print for that.
Yeah, he's on my team. He can do whatever he wants to.
I could get that print. I could get that printed by the time we had to go. Except it's not
If you
Western.
saw my list, it'd be nice for someone to. I'm going to get a lot of hate for my list, I'm sure, but that's fine. That's what I do.
I'm just covered for you, man. They're going to hate me and love you.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Damn it, now I'm going to go see if that flamingo's in the Western Desert.
I feel like he's literally going to go walk to the Western Desert and look for a flamingo.
He's gonna go ask someone that was there. You're like, hey. All right. Well, so that's Friday. So Adepticon
Yep.
Saturday, Sunday. Like, you guys aren't playing in nationals, are you?
No.
No.
We're
not.
It's hard. I remember them talking about it 2 years ago about switching it to one-day events.
Well, last year it was 4 days.
was
It was
it?
4 games in one day, and so I actually when we were at Renegade, I was talking to John about this, and he said I can't effing please anybody. I make it a 1250 four games one day. Everyone hates me. I make it a 1,000.5 games 2 days. Everyone hates me. So I just said screw it. I'm here. This is what I'm going to do, and that's what it is. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Can't argue that.
That's yeah.
It's interesting that it's 1,000 points.
Right, instead of 1250 5 games. But
Right. Yeah. That doesn't make sense. Like, I know that they're like dog take. Well, whatever. Like, he can do whatever the hell he wants. So, sure.
Right, well, he's the one handing them out and
Right. Okay.
kind of reimbursing them.
Right. Just funny that all the tournaments are required to be 1250, and this one's only 1,000.
Last year they did.
Okay. Oh, they take that requirement away now. Feels like it. Maybe?
It's whatever John wants to do. He's
Okay.
the American warlord rep, so if what he determines to hand those out is up to him.
Sure. Fair. Okay.
And he might be getting marching orders from somewhere else, and they might be following what their nationals are. But
Sure.
now we'll talk about in a couple minutes here that their nationals are kind of fractured.
Yeah.
To not just a 1250, but
Right. No, there's some interesting things in there too. So,
Yep.
1,000 points, 18 order dice, no tank platoons, no special characters, no planes. Well, the planes aren't in a normal book, are they? Like, this is
No,
like an
they're in
optional
a-
experimental rule, right?
right, they're a PDF set rules.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense.
Optional
They
rules.
it would call out that no, you're not getting
This was
Like,
clearly written by a warlord
right. Yeah. Like, they're just making sure
because
all this stuff
they
is
list the
covered.
approved books.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and then the Chinese communists and the French late war, and which book those are in. 2 hours and 30-minute rounds. Bring copies for your peoples. Have stuff. Yeah,
Like they know what they're doing. It's interesting that the bolt action easy army is an option for them. Like, they offer it at list of missions will be submitted by send tournament option at bolt action easy army. Interesting.
Nice.
I don't think I've ever seen that in there. I'm gonna have to go play around with that. Just start sending John random lists.
make sure you name them like John Russell 1, John Russell 2, John Russell 3.
It's like, this is my list for nationals. You're like, who the fuck are you? You're not even in the tournament.
I don't see your name on the registry. What are you doing, man?
But if I did, I would win it. All right, well, there's that. So, okay. So nothing, I don't know, I mean, like, that's pretty straightforward as far as the nationals, other than the reason you guys aren't playing is typically because I remember, like, we always like to leave Sunday morning.
Yes.
Like, we'd like to check out, get our crap out of the room, and just be able to leave whenever we want, not have to stay
And be
until
able to
4
work
or 5.
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or whatever the time is. It's usually late enough where driving home afterwards is kind of not conducive. Normally,
Yeah.
I do have other friends that go that if they do something on Sunday, they basically stay until Monday and drive home Monday, which is kind of, it's hard on the families. It's hard on work. So yeah, normally we wouldn't do that in the past. So,
Well, and we're already going Thursday. I mean, if it was,
Yeah.
it could be a different story if we weren't taking Thursday off work to do this.
sure, if you drove down Thursday night,
So you take Monday instead.
Yeah.
That would be different, but
yeah,
it's an awful lot of time to be out.
The combat patrol, and you definitely don't miss doubles because I feel like doubles is the fun one. It really is like the most fun of the bunch. So,
Yeah.
and nationals is nationals. You don't have to go to nationals.
No.
It's fairly common format for most tournaments. I could see why. Like other than that, it is probably probably have some of the most top tier players at.
Yep.
In
But
in
if
the
we played in
US.
nationals, we would never get to hit that vendor hall.
No, you would never. No, you're right. You would never get to go shopping, which is like literally half the reason why I go to Adepticon typically.
Oh God, yeah.
Like-
Gotta bring a big fat stack of cash and blow it on all the crap you don't need, but you
Yeah.
want.
I wonder if that's going to change now that you guys have 3D printers.
No,
No, you're still going to be able to find crap you want to buy. Like
there's always going to be crap I want to buy.
fair, okay,
You know, it might change, and certain things will change, but like,
yeah, but you're like
I don't think I'll buy a vehicle because I can print vehicles
right.
fine.
You never
But
go
there's other
visit Mad
things.
Bob again because you're like don't need to.
Yeah, but his print quality is a little bit better than what I
his
can
resin
do,
is usually pretty good, but
But also, to be fair, I've already bought everything from him I want.
fair.
I mean, I bought like one of everything he sells already.
I know. But okay. So that kind of leads us into the next thing where Adepticon, or not Adepticon, Warlord released a tourney pack. I don't know if this is the first one they've done.
As far as I know, it is.
Like, I don't feel like I've ever seen one of these from them before, which I think is very intriguing. And I think this is leading up to their giant grand tournament. I feel like they've had those in the past, haven't they? I feel like I've seen those before, but I'm not entirely sure now.
Yeah, on Thanksgiving weekend, they've had a tournament there
Okay.
for the past few years.
Yeah, so I feel like they've had the tournament, but they've never had this kind of a tourney pack that I think is interesting. And I don't know if this is it only meant for the one tournament? It
It
kind of
only
feels like it
refers to
is.
the one
It's only
tournament.
referring to the one tournament.
Yeah, I think it's sort of a test balloon for a standardized packet, though. Is
Right.
the feeling I'm getting. Seems like an awful lot of work for one tournament, what they've done.
Feels that way, doesn't it?
So I'd be curious if this works out well for them, that they might not do this as the quote-unquote official Warlord tournament in the future.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Just a guess. I have no insider information.
Sure.
That's purely supposition.
So I know, was it in a newsletter, right? It was in a newsletter, that the email that came out that you could download
Yeah,
this
it's
from.
attachment to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I think is interesting. So it has a couple of things that I think are pretty interesting. The first
I
thing
think it's a really cool idea.
I love everything about this. The first thing I'll note is that their matchup system is you can buy into like competitive play or like an open play, which is more like you'll be automatically put into the competitive play if you don't make the other selection.
The fluffy bunny list,
right? So like there's like a fluffy area.
Well, it's open play. Well, there's a competitive side,
Correct.
and then there's a non-competitive side.
Right.
So.
Yeah, right. The fluffy bunny side essentially is what they're going for, right?
I don't know.
I'm guessing.
I mean, you can play
No,
competitively
maybe
with a fluffy themey list if you want to.
I mean, there's nothing saying you can't
if
be
you-
group one, but you're not there to go try and fucking kill everyone.
Right. If you want to go to the tournament and support Warlord and have a great time hanging out and not have to deal with the competitive
Right.
side of a competitive
If you're more of
tournament,
I'm
then-
here to paint
Right.
and
Or-
show my
or
stuff off.
you just don't want to.
Oh.
Well, what if I bring my Fluffy Bunny 5 Panzerwerfer division list? I mean, come on. Man.
Well, then you're a jerk
Fluffy
for
bunny,
signing.
5
Then you're,
Panzerwerfer.
then you're a jerk for signing up for group 2.
Maybe we'll look at your list and put you into group 1.
No,
this is
no.
not. This is not a group 2 open play list.
I don't remember what tournament we've gone to in the past where they had this as an option where you can just be like, I'm going to forgo all awards and I'm just here to have a good time. I think that was a Wapaka.
I feel like that was a Wapaka.
Like where you're just like, hey, I have no intentions of winning anything. I just am here to have a good time, and that was actually a very fun tournament for me. Where you're like, I'm like, literally don't have to think about like, oh shit, like, oh, I lost my first game, now I got to submarine my way up afterwards. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, it's, to be fair, I don't normally win awards anyway, but
thank you for saying it. I was thinking it so loud.
I actually heard your thought.
Yeah, no, I did too, because but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no pressure to like try and play that way, and your games tend to be more fun, and you're not playing against people that are
honestly,
cutthroaty.
If they'd had that division in Infinity at WAPAC, I might still play Infinity.
Right, fair. Yeah, because normally you play the one guy.
Wasn't that what the narrative was?
No.
Yeah.
Well, in theory, it kind of was, but you still face the one guy that knows how to play the game really well.
Right, and you just get smashed.
And you get your shit stomped in, and you're like, I'm done. Like, this is a dumb game.
Stupid.
Yeah. Pretty much exactly how I felt.
It's hard to get
in all fairness, Rick, we did name our team the Baby Seals. We weren't exactly looking to. We got what we deserved.
No, but when you feel like you're going into a narrative event, and you're like, yeah, and then you're like, yeah, literally, you get your shit smashed.
The narrative of this is I got my face stomped.
Yeah, you're like over and over and over again.
And over.
Hey, but we
and
almost
that honestly isn't a lot of fun.
No, not long term. That's not very fun. So
I'd much rather be the pusher than the pushy.
I like to have a nice even fight. Quite honestly, I don't want anyone getting smashed all the time. It's no fun. But so that was the first thing I noticed, and then I think the second thing that Pat was talking about, I think, or what excited Pat, right, is the different point levels for each round. It looks like they have 6 games over 2 days, and it's like an escalating thing, right? So the first 3 games are 750.
The first 3 games, 750. And now the really interesting thing is that your 750 has to be a legal list, and it has to be pulled from your 1250 legal list.
Yeah.
Right. In reality, you build a 750 list, and then you add another 250 to it for a 1,000-point game. Mm-hmm. So you have 2 1,000-point games after that, and then the last game of the tournament is a 1,250 game. That to me is kind of crazy. How much time they give you for that last one? Looks like they give you 2.5 hours for that last game.
90 minute for the 750 and 2 hours for the 1,000.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Yeah. That's. Did I? So like. I kind of like that. I like the escalation of points. Like, that seems like a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder how this works, because it says players must select a force of 1,250 points from which they must be able to select legal or to select legal subforces of 750 and 1,000 points. So do you have to have them built already, right? You don't get to like change them. It says army list for each force. Yeah. There's no like you can't pick from your 1,250 every game.
And they have to be submitted in advance.
Yeah.
You can't pluck and go, ooh, you know what? I need this out of my 1,250.
I don't need the tank this time. I need this thing over here. Okay, that would have been really cool actually if you could have done that. Like building lists the whole time, though. That would probably take too much time. No special characters. Legendary Tank of War correspondents can be selected. I don't even know what the hell those are. Legendary tanks or war correspondents. Oh, I think
that makes more sense.
Yeah, I was like, tanks of war. That sounds amazing. What is this shit?
I want to play that game.
Legendary.
I'm like, who are these people? Okay, legendary tanks or war correspondents can be selected. All right.
That last bullet point's got an interesting little tidbit in it. All units published from Bolt Action by Warlord Games may be used, but excluding Bolt Action Korea.
Right, which is assumed.
Sounds like they anticipate that'll be out by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be out this summer.
That's kind of a unique book, though. Like, that
no
makes
jets.
sense. Yeah, no jets, no Korean forces. Interesting.
Well, let's see. What year was Korea? It was after 45, right?
50s.
Wasn't World War II anymore.
It wasn't World War II anymore.
Right. The dice caps. I mean, 20 dice at 1,250. Jesus, like who? Like again, like that's insane. Like that they even
Soviets.
Soviets are the only ones that can get that high, and even that's tough at 1,250. Maybe not.
Like, oh crap! I can't have my 21st order dice.
Does it have? There's no platoon limits in here. I don't see anything about platoons.
You can have a single reinforced platoon or a single tank platoon.
Okay, all right. So there is something to it.
Yeah, single reinforced infantry,
Yeah.
infantry platoon or single tank platoon.
Huh. Okay. I've just found
Each table's missions are so the missions are based on the table you're playing on.
Interesting. Okay. I just found the weirdest typo ever, if that makes sense.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want to create a specific unit at a set of time and place, yada yada, then gore for it.
Go for it.
Gore for it. And
Well,
it'll be
they add extra U's. Maybe they started adding extra E's into the. Their
no,
words.
this one's got an extra R on it. Then gore for
okay.
it. Like the
Gore
old,
for it.
like the whole Beastman units.
There you go.
Yeah, okay, it's interesting. So they're basically saying you can try and make it themey if you want, and we'll be impressed if you do, but it has to fit inside a normal platoon. All right.
We'll expect us to reject it.
Army selectors are allowed.
Oh, they are.
Theater selectors or army selectors?
Army selectors. Any theater or campaign book published up to and including Overlord D-Day. So you can armies must be drawn
That
from
should
the
be out in
following
June.
books. So
Yeah, I was going to say that's barely announced.
Okay.
Interesting. All right, cool.
What was that? Okay, so any theater or campaign book published. Okay, sweet. So they're allowing all theater selectors.
that's the
Except for
impression. That's the impression that I got. So single reinforced platoon from any selector.
That's interesting. Doesn't say you can pick and choose rules from selectors, right? You have to be in that theater selector.
Right. Which kind of flows into goring for it when it comes to, a particular kind of division or battalion or something like that. So,
Right.
and
then
if you
they
believe
say
in your
that
product that it's going to be balanced, then I would expect that you'd be like, take whatever you want. It's all good. So
Yeah.
even that one Russian, what's the Russian theater selector that's got like
Stalingrad.
a bunch of, yeah,
the Street Academy from Stalingrad.
that's still a really interesting theater selector that almost makes me want to play Russians just in the theater selector alone.
So
But there's so many of them.
it can be pretty powerful at each of those points levels too, and play differently at each one of those points levels. So, because you can get a really solid core of 750 points, and then really start adding in some of the other things. So, yeah.
I like it.
But I suspect there's a lot you can do because it's pretty wide open. So, interesting. 6 games in 2 days.
That's
it
a lot of
sounds like
games.
a lot, but
It sounds exhausting.
Well, and again, those first 3 are quick games,
Yeah, they are.
They
It's
are.
because
and they're providing a buffet lunch.
Buffets. Nice.
Gotta love the Buffett. Is that maybe a Jimmy Buffett lunch?
dude, it's
sounds like
just
there's a bar
Margaritaville?
too, which
weed
is,
and margaritas. Sounds great.
Margaritaville, lots of salt.
Well, that'll help the leg cramps.
Yeah, that'll make things better. You're right. Yeah, it's still a long day because it starts at 8:45 and goes. Well, it's only going until 4:45. Right? 4:45. 16:45 is 4:45. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, just
military
before
time.
5 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. And then it ends. It looks like it ends at 3 on Sunday.
Yep.
So that's
Not so bad.
That's not the worst ever. You'd still be home. If you
9
let-
a.m. starts, not the end of the world.
No, it's really not that bad.
It's an interesting way to get 6 games in by having
Shorter
increasing points
yeah.
value.
Yeah, you get a couple of
Yes.
shorter games in. I think that is kind of the thing that makes it possible to be able to be done as early as that. Although your Sunday's still crazy. Like it's not crazy, but it's a reasonable Sunday tournament schedule.
4.5 hours of gaming. And their lunch break is short. I mean, we're here
Oh,
usually
shit,
accustomed to
yeah.
an hour lunch
Yeah.
break. They're half-hour lunch breaks.
That is kind of brutal.
If their food is right
Like,
there.
high school again.
So.
Right.
Right. Yeah, you're like
Right. You don't
run
have to
and-
go somewhere to find it.
Yeah. As long as it's
Or waiting
reasonably
there.
close, yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's at their facility, isn't it? Do they? I don't know.
I presume.
We're probably never going to be able to go to this because it's on Thanksgiving. So if anyone's ever listening,
Well, Thanksgiving's late this year. We have a chance.
Is it? Well, I'm not going this year anyway. I don't have a chance.
Thanksgiving is the end of November this year, so the latest it could possibly be. So normally, Renegade which will be the week before this.
Right.
And
well, there's the
this
bigger
this
problem.
year.
Is always the week before Thanksgiving.
Well, again, this year Thanksgiving is the latest it could possibly be. Is the end of November, or the virtual end of November. Sorry, because that was the third. Is that was the third week, or is it the second to last week in November? I forget which.
I always thought it was the third Thursday or whatever.
I just know my work schedule got all messed up because it's really late this year.
Oh, you're making me open a calendar. Hang on. Boop, 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 boop.
November 28th is Thanksgiving this year.
So this is
actually the
before
same.
Thanksgiving.
So this is the same weekend as Renegade then.
So likely the same weekend as
Renegade is the weekend before this.
Are you sure?
Fairly positive, but I will find out for sure next week.
Well, that
Well,
actually
it's not even set yet, is it?
Because it's the same week. Thanksgiving is a week later this year.
Right.
In America.
Right. But
Just
I
clarify
always,
that.
Yeah, I always thought that.
I mean, does anyone else care? I mean, America.
No.
No.
America. America.
We care. I care mostly because of Renegade and when Renegade is compared to Thanksgiving.
I am fairly certain, and I'm basing this off of looking at, John's calendar shared it with me, and I presume he was in contact with Renegade. And again, their first meeting for Renegade is next week, the 2nd of March. This should be out before that, and I'll put something on Facebook just to confirm it, but I'm fairly certain that we're 2 weeks ahead of Thanksgiving this year.
Well,
because Thanksgiving is late.
So it's
you're
possible.
saying, I want to confirm
16th.
this. You're saying you think it's the 16th.
I believe so. But
I would love that if we could. Oh my God, that'd make my life.
That would make everyone's life a lot easier, actually. That would be great. Anyway,
I will find out for sure on the 2nd of March.
We'll be obviously announcing more around our tournament when it happens. So that's cool. I don't know if is there anything else in this packet that we want to talk about other than that I love the fact that they're actually putting together something that you can look at. Their trophies. Their trophy is interesting, by the way. Like the tank shell busting through concrete.
I like it.
Is that that the actual award?
Pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Okay. Which I think is kind of is it a tank? Is it metal or is it concrete? It looks like metal, I guess. So it's like an unexploded shell, which I think is kind of interesting. Holy cow! It's not
cool.
that long of a packet, but it's definitely got some cool shit in it. Mm-hmm. But speaking of rockets and shit like that, I don't know if anyone saw the story this week that they were discovering, I think it was somewhere in Africa, that people were building houses out of unused rockets.
Well, sure. Why not?
Why not?
It was like building material they had available to us. This is a weird nugget of the week for me. And they were like, and then the country was like, holy shit, you guys can't be building houses out of rockets. So they had to try and tell these people to take the rockets out of their house, and they're like, absolutely not. It's like the walls to our living room. You can't have these rockets. And so they were kind of like if any one of them had 30 rockets in it, and if any one of them had exploded, it would have literally leveled like a 20 block radius.
Jeez. Well, hopefully
a lot of it was kind of scary. I don't know. They were from I don't know what war they were from either. They were talking about they were devastated country and they basically had no option but other than to build with this shit because it was available to them. Bizarre. Anyway, see, we had to eventually tangent completely away from that, but anyway.
We've been doing really good until then.
I know. It was the end of the episode, so I had to get one in there. I had to get at least one tangent in there.
So Puck is telling me that it is in fact still the weekend before Thanksgiving, 22nd,
See,
23rd,
told
24th.
you.
Ooh.
See, told you.
We need to lobby for it to be a week earlier.
I think they can get that place cheap that weekend because nobody wants to put a fucking conference on that weekend.
Well, they're talking about moving it to a convention center because they're thinking they outgrew their facility already.
That'd be wonderful too, but that's a different story altogether. Okay, I don't know that I have anything else. That kind of wraps the episode up. It kind of just poops out at the end there, doesn't it?
Covers me.
we'll be back with another topic. I have no idea what the fuck the next topic is. Pat, do you have any idea yet? No? Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Am I supposed to tell you? Were we going to cover anything about Bug Eater at all? It's still a ways wait out.
Well, no, we can talk
But
about Bug
I'm
Eater.
going to that one.
Yeah,
I'm going to that one.
the tickets are on sale, apparently. Not well.
I bought a ticket.
Not well
At least
announced.
2 have been sold.
Yeah, I have bought a ticket. I
Watch,
have
they
a
were just
PayPal
trying to
receipt saying
test.
I purchased it.
Watch, they were trying to test the system, and you guys found it. So supposedly Bug Eater tickets are on sale, which is awesome. So you guys got in. Dale, are you going to try?
I haven't bought mine yet.
You can't get in yet. Well,
There's 48 spots left. I think I'm okay.
yeah, but you might want to get in there before this gets announced on
I
the air.
kind of want them, so I want them to post their hotel information first, so I can, see if that's going to be a better deal than I can get with my normal Hilton stuff.
I doubt it.
Well, but you don't have to book a hotel room to get the shit. Just
I like to do those things at the same time. I like to make sure that the place I'm going to do what I need to do, and to have a place to stay. I like to do it at the same time.
There's a
I'm weird that
process.
way.
Follow the process.
Yes.
such an engineer. I would just.
It's like, hey, I'm going to go somewhere and do something. I'd like to make sure I for sure have a place to sleep while I'm going there and doing it, being that it's 6 hours away.
I am 99.99% confident that you will be able to find a hotel room in Omaha in fucking
Unless
June.
Sean would let us crash on his couch or something.
I'm pretty sure that could be
You
a
just
potential.
get drunk and he could throw us in the jail.
Right, yeah, you just have a free place to stay for the night.
And a hell of a story. Like, yeah, look at that. Snafu cast in jail.
Yeah, you won't get to take pictures of that.
No, but he would.
No, yes, you would. He might just arrest you just to be able to take a picture without you guys getting drunk.
He might.
Just mouth off a little bit and see what happens.
Yeah, so Bug Eater this year is 1,000 points. Virtually anything goes.
Super excited
One or
about
two
that.
platoons. You could have one armored platoon. You could hit any theater list you want to. It's 1,000 points. He's just like, whatever. I don't have to play. You guys have fun.
Seems like
And he likes.
I do
And he's
like
okay with
that.
flame tanks.
he's okay with flame tanks now, not Nebelwerfers
Yeah.
though. No,
do
Nebelwerfers
like
are in
that.
too. Okay.
I do like that because now there's no confusion about the fact that some people can bring hard lists.
Right. Yeah, he's never been clear about it, but I think that he is just like, you do you, man. That's a good stance.
So,
Somebody's typing a novel.
Sorry, I was just chatting with Puck.
Oh, that's good. That happens.
Is that a sanctioned typing?
No, it's whatever, man. I don't care. Just hear
Okay.
typing.
Yep.
Okay, so I mean,
Sorry.
are you guys bringing new lists to Bug Eater? Then you guys are starting to work on that. I'm gonna just keep asking questions
I've been
about Bug
bringing-
Eater then.
Yeah, like I talked to you guys earlier. I'm kind of like trying to put together a Bug Eater list, and got whole boxes of Germans to put together and a reason to paint them. So I might as well play them. I'm just not sure what. And somehow I ended up with 2 Panzer IVs kits. So maybe something around that.
Whoops.
That sounds mean.
Yeah, but
You can have dual
Oh,
platoon.
yeah, you can have tank platoons. There you go.
Yeah. Let's see. There's one I was looking at that was in Market Garden that was, well, not technically a tank platoon, had a 0-2 selector for Panzer IVs, Panzer IIIs, but everyone must ride, so it was kind of a tank platoon without having to have the mandatory
3 tanks.
three tanks in the command vehicle. So it was a lieutenant. It was the 10th SS.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was one. There's specific units that you could have. So basically, it's like here grenadiers, but they're maxed at 5 dudes.
Interesting. Okay.
And no artillery. Everyone has to have a transport, and you could get 0-2 in the tank selector, 0-2 in the armor card selector. So I'm like, that sounds like fun. I've got 2 Panzer IV kits. That could bring some hate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder which armored cars were allowed.
The 222s for sure, and I think the Pumas were in there because it was
Puma
pretty
would
late
make
war.
sense.
Of course, the Pumas were in there.
You know, it might be one of the few units
Well,
that actually.
it's out of Market Garden, so
Okay.
basically the 10th SS was there at Arnhem to just basically be a reinforced and pick up trainees and just kind of repel the British.
Sure.
So that'd be in theming what I've done the last couple of years at Bug Eaters. That might be a possibility. We'll see what happens. I've got lots of hair and lots of grenadiers laying around. So
seems reasonable.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Jeff will print an entire new army of something.
Actually, I very well might. I got to email him, and once I figure out this is official, I'm coming and be like, hey, I want to do this thing. Can I do this?
Does it fit within the bounds of the rules?
Maybe. That's why I got to ask.
You're not sure if they are in the...
If it was 100% clear, I wouldn't be asking.
Got it.
Well, here's the other question for us, Jeff. Is like, let's see. You and I were there last year. We had some matchups that we felt we didn't make great friends out of. I wonder, they do have, of course, that grudge match thing at Bug Eater. If anyone might throw a grudge match out on us.
Well, they can if they want to.
It's normally for friendly people, right? Like, I want to play you.
Yeah,
not,
typically.
Hey, you brought a shitty ass.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, normally it's
like
not.
I hated playing you last time. I'm totally gonna grudge you and make you regret it.
Maybe that's more the dwarven spirit of things,
right? That's certain individuals might look at it that way. Like, hey, I want to ruin your weekend. You for some reason I felt like you ruined mine. No, but that's not the purpose of grudge matches typically. It's usually I want to.
Well, then why do they call them grudge? It's like I'm holding a grudge because you wrecked me last time. I
think it's a holdover from Warhammer. I quite honestly think it's
a little bit of friendly
thing.
trash talk beforehand, and yeah.
It's mostly I just don't get to play you and I want to play you. So.
Chicago guys are coming down for Bug Eater this year, from what I've seen on Facebook. So that should be a lot of fun.
They've talked a lot of
Paul
smack.
And his plan.
Yeah.
They think they're going to steal our cup away from us, but I'm like, yeah, I don't see that happening.
How many other people have said they were likely to go from our group? I mean,
I think we have 5 people right now.
Dale, are you going to try and go this year?
Yeah. Paul and John Stentz, those are still out breakers. They'll be down there.
Okay, they technically are kind of auto breakers. You're right.
Not technically,
like original auto breakers.
I don't know if John ever was really technically an auto breaker, but Paul definitely was.
John was
fringe.
Part of the group early on.
Yeah.
It's like charter member, plank owner, and ran.
Well, I don't know that it was auto break before he left or not. So
yeah, I'm trying to. There's a lot of history there, but I don't remember when John was not.
They signed up with our club last year,
as they should. I mean, you guys might as well just be Minnesota,
right? Minnesota area.
We all love each other here.
Yeah. And we're here to ruin everyone else's weekend. No, really not.
I mean,
obviously,
play peacefully and have fun, and then
Right.
beat the pants off you and take the cup home.
Long term, that's the goal.
In that order.
Well, I mean, we keep score and
Yeah,
we win.
Yeah, there are scores. I guess that's
So we
the
get
way
the
to
cup.
do
It'd
it.
be a really dull game if we didn't keep score.
Or they didn't have points for things. That would be silly too. That was a
Right.
different
Just for
game.
the record, I just built my 5 Panzerwerfer 42 list.
I heard clicking. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. With 2 veteran grenadier squads with Panzerfaust and some Brandenburgers, and everybody's in a ride.
there you go.
All right, there you go.
Under 1,000. I like this.
How many dice?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
That's not bad.
It would roll over my
1,000
list.
Nine.
not terrible.
Oh, that's
It's a good number for Germans.
very typical
9.
German. Yeah. How much snap to action is in there?
None. It's a tank platoon.
Oh,
so
yeah,
none.
you don't get any snap to action then. Yeah, brr.
Can I put a machine gun on this thing? No, I can't.
And with
It's got a
the
land
same
washer
entry,
schlepper in it.
did you get the radio network so you can have range 12 with plus
I
1?
actually have, what do I have here? 30 points to play with. I'm going to put some radio networks in this.
Yeah, there we
So
go.
25 for command vehicle, 5 for radio network, as long as all your 3
they're
primaries
all
are
the
the same
same.
entry. Yep.
There we go.
There you go. All right. Well,
999. 5 Panzerwerfers, 2 squads 8, 1 squad of 5. All the infantry is riding in a land Wasser Schlepper. Everything's regular or veteran.
Can I anti-grudge your list?
I do not want to play that list.
Like, can I just make sure I don't play him in round 1 is what I'm looking for?
right.
Yeah. This could actually be an okay list.
Sounds decent enough. All right. Well, I feel like we're like just talking to talk at this point. So I think we're going to call it for the night. We'll be back probably sooner rather than later. I feel like this is a late episode for the month instead of an early one.
Yeah, we have a tendency to do that.
Kind of double back on next episode here, I'm sure.
It's winter in Minnesota. We're hibernating.
It is. Yeah, we're
getting another 6 inches.
Right,
of snow
we've had to
today.
dig out several times in the last month and a half. So
Week.
Yeah, in the last week, fair. And we're gonna have to do it again tonight or tomorrow. So
My snowblower actually had a little white flag on the end of it when I went out there this morning. It's like, no,
kidding.
please.
please stop.
Jeez.
God, no.
But we got the polar vortex, so we had that going for us.
That was crazy.
Yeah, cold.
Minus 25 degrees for like 36 hours. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm never going to the North Pole.
No, I agree. Not in the winter anyway. Let's wait until summer and it's a little bit warmer up there maybe.
And smaller.
Slightly. And smaller. But yeah, I'm not going to go there anyway. But so yeah, hopefully we'll have another one out and then before Adepticon, I'm hoping. Yeah?
I hope so too. I'm thinking so, and then
so
we'll have
too.
one promptly thereafter.
Yeah. Obviously, we'll have one after that because there'll be stuff to
So
talk
has
about.
been said, so it shall be written. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So we're going to call for the night, and we'll be back probably in a couple weeks, hopefully. So, Pat? And he's drinking something? Lead us out,
Right.
buddy. Lead us out. Get us out of here.
This is Snafu, over and out.
Mother dear, I'm writing you from somewhere in France, hoping this finds you well. Sergeant says I'm doing fine, a soldier and a half. Here's a song that we'll all sing, it'll make you laugh. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line. Have you any dirty washing, mother dear? We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, 'cause the washing day is here. Whether the weather may be wet or fine, we'll just rub along without a care. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, if the Siegfried line's still there. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line. Have you any dirty washing, mother dear? We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, 'cause the washing day is here. Whether the weather may be wet or fine, we'll just rub along without a care. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, if the Siegfried line's still there. Everybody's mucking in and doing their job, wearing a great big smile. Everybody's got to keep their spirit up today. If you want to keep in swing, here's the song to sing. We're going to hang out the washing on the Siegfried line. Have you any dirty washing, mother dear? We're going to hang out the washing on the Siegfried line. Why? 'Cause the washing day is here. Now whether the weather may be wet or fine, well, we'll just rub along without a care. We're going to hang out the washing on the Siegfried line. Well, if the Siegfried line's still there. Wet or fine, we'll just run along without a care. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, if the Siegfried line's still there.
Is the bolt action world champion. So
Yeah, like we have a World Series for baseball. Or a Miss Universe pageant when we're the only planet.
I do like, now that I'm reading it, that there's a 20 dice cap.
yeah, they have limits on it, which is cool. There's
Do they have a
15
swimsuit issue?
at
Or a swimsuit
750.
competition?
Have you seen Bolt Action players, man?
I would not want to do that. No.
No
Scary
one wants
would
to
that
see
be?
me in a swimsuit. Jesus, I don't want to see myself in a swimsuit. Great.
Secret objective: play in a bikini. A mankini. 5 VPs.